sorry? Thank you, Joe. I started the stream, Greg. I started it, yep.
Not as crowded as I thought. Not as crowded as I thought, but...
And we're streaming already, just so you know.
You're going to ask him to stay here all night.
Hey, you ready? I'm ready. Good evening, everyone. I hereby announce that pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the notice which was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board in Township Hall and filed in the Township Clerk's office on January 6, 2026. Mayor Impreveduto?
Here.
Mr. Foster? Here. Mr. Bontempo?
Here.
Mr. Romano?
Here.
Mr. Vanderham?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Wendy. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now a moment of silence, please, for our men and women in uniform that keep us safe at home and abroad. Thank you. Okay. So we have a lot of special guests here this evening. We're very happy to see all you guys here. I would like to introduce Paul Irefedge, and we're going to have a presentation from the Young Speakers Academy. Paul?
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor and Wendy in particular. Thank you so much for all of your help. My name is Paul Irefedge, and for the past 8 weeks, I have been torturing these children, teaching them about public speaking, using their body, as well as vocal variety. I am so proud of the progress that these kids have made, and I'm sure they are so excited to showcase their talents for all of you tonight. So we're going to get started. Our first speaker is Yatharth. Take it away, Mr. Yatharth.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, the greatest player in all of hockey history. I learned this because I just love sports. I started travel hockey when I was 4, basketball and soccer for fun when I was around 6, and I'm a part of the Homedale competitive swim team. Sports plays a big role in youth development. There are 3 main reasons why. 1, sports can teach you hard work, confidence, leadership, and discipline. 2, It keeps you away from technology and electronics addictions. 3, you can make new friends, have fun, be healthier, stronger, and faster. That is why I feel like sports is the best thing for youth kids. From here on out, by the end of 2026, I hope everyone in this room tries one new sport. In addition to Homedale sports, I think we should add a roller hockey rink in Homedale. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up to the stage is Gabriel. Take it away, Gabriel.
Have you ever seen a slow typer? Well, I have. In my opinion, I think that the Homedale School District should add typing classes so that way kids can learn how to type properly and also not fall behind on online projects. For example, one day in class, I was typing my essay in social studies, and I look over to the person next to me, and I see them extremely behind, slowly typing. If they had learned to type properly, they would have not been behind on their project. The Homedale School District should add typing classes so kids do not fall behind on school projects and learn how to type properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. And next up, we have Emily. Take it away, Emily.
When all you do with a book that's other than reading is flipping a page, you end up with a paper cut. Ouch! But don't think that reading is negative with just a little paper cut. Reading is very helpful. Let's dive in and see why. Reading is helpful for many ways. For example, reading can help you learn. Reading helps you with mostly anything, including math. Reading can give you information about a lot of stuff. Also, reading can teach you lessons. The frequently used lessons in these books are never give up and be honest. Even fantasy books can teach lessons. Reading can also inspire you. It can't just stand up and start saying random things. You just have to read the book itself. It might be telling you how fun it is and reasons why. Lastly, reading will keep the boredom away. Reading can entertain you when you're bored. There's a million types of books that I can't list them all in this typical piece of writing, other words, speech for this case. And so I'll list a type of book, graphic novels. Normally, chapter books will be good for reading homeworks, but you don't always use books for entertainment. You can use books to research too, not always social media. Lastly, reading will keep the boredom away. Reading is truly wonderful for these reasons. There are more reasons too. So the next time you open a book, you should think about all these purposes a book can have.
And our next speaker is Sarah. Sarah, take it away, Sarah.
Today I will talk about protecting our environment. Our beautiful world needs fresh air, clean water, sustainable food to survive. But now, trouble has come. People cut down trees, pollute the air, destroy the home of animals. They are gradually destroying our beautiful world. But small actions can also make a big difference. We can save water, save electricity, use less plastic, and plant more trees. At the same time, we can also tell our family and friends to do it together. These are all things we can do. The earth is our common home. Let's take action together and do our part to keep our earth beautiful. The planet is changing. Are we? Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And our next speaker is Kabir. Go ahead.
When I moved to Homedale in 2024, I knew I was in for a good time. The schools here are awesome, and the teachers somehow make learning so much fun. I have amazing friends who make school feel like one big adventure. I've enjoyed my time at Homedale. Homedale is a wonderful town with so much to offer. To the chess club in the Bell Works, which I had so much fun at, to the playgrounds in Homedale Park, which was also so much fun, to the police academy, which I participated in. I feel lucky to be able to grow up here. Few ways we can improve Homedale are adding a cricket pitch to any of the parks in Homedale. Having roots from India, I am most passionate about cricket. After all, it's the second most popular sport in the world. I dream of having my own Homedale cricket team one day. Other additions can be adding a zip line and having a dedicated bike lane. This will make Homedale even more special. I thank you for making Homedale a great place to live in.
And our next speaker is Raphael.
Did you know that only 12% of people in Homedale cook? I think you should add weekly cooking classes in elementary schools because first, cooking is cheaper than ordering out, making a valuable skill for later in life. Second, you can add whatever spices you want onto your food instead of just hoping that the restaurant you order from has it inside your food. Lastly, kids could use other subjects in cooking. Like for math, you need to know fractions and ratios to cook. For example, one time I was cooking chicken with my dad. We were cooking chicken to save money and eat healthier. I got to pick a spice to go on the chicken and put all the ingredients with a precise amount of each ingredient. So overall, I think you should have weekly cooking classes in elementary schools.
Thank you, Raphael. And our next speaker is Clara.
Class pets are the best. When I was little, I had 5 pet fish in my classroom. My favorite out of all of them was Diamond. She was a beta with a diamond pattern. It was super duper pretty. When I was upset, I took a peek at Diamond and she made me happy. She also flipped my frown upside down. Like they say, diamonds are a girl's best friend. But when I moved, I realized Homedale schools don't have class pets. Here are 3 reasons why I think Homedale schools should have class pets. 1. The kids can learn responsibility by taking care of the class pet they have and maybe bring it home. 2. You can have fun school-wide activities like a class pet race or have a class craft for a pet like decorating the cages for certain holidays. 3. They're just plain fun to play with and are the best friends when you don't have human friends around. In conclusion, class pets help you learn responsibility, have fun, and can be your backup besties. And those are my reasons that Homedale schools should have class pets and that you should consider adding them.
Great job, Clara. Our next speaker is William. Take it away, Mr. William.
Do you remember school? I do. I will tell you why I like school. First, you can learn stuff in math, literacy, and social studies. If you do good stuff, you can get rewards. Like one time I listened to the teacher all week and I got a certificate. But sadly, there are bad stuff like detention. Like one time I yelled out loud and I got in trouble. That is why I like school.
Great job, William. And our last speaker is Brooke. Brooke, come on up.
These are 4 reasons why I think we should have chickens at Homedale schools. 1, you can get fresh eggs and for free. And you can use them to make the egg patties for the school lunches. Number 2, you can learn responsibility for taking care of pets. Like I got chicks the other day, and I already filled the food bowl and the water bowl. This helped me learn responsibility for taking care of pets. And number 3, you can give all your food waste to the chickens. They'll eat bread scraps, even eggshells, and fruit that you don't eat. This could help the environment and can reduce waste at Homedale. And fourth and last reason, kids can learn about the life cycle of chickens while playing with a little chick. This is why I think that we should have chicks at Homedale schools.
Thank you very much, Brooke. I want to say again, thank you so much to the committee. Mr. Mayor, Wendy, thank you so much for all of your help. I am incredibly proud of these kids. You have come such a long way. And a big thank you to the parents. Thank you for trusting me to teach your children. This has been a very big honor for me. Thank you all so much.
Paul, why don't we take a picture with the kids?
Okay.
It's like a bat, right?
I saw that.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Cute, right? Yeah, he's gonna close the door too.
Okay. Folks, we're going to ask now for public comment for agenda items only. We are going to just sort of go back to our normal rhythm where we get one question per person and a 3-minute limit, both for this part of the public comment and for public comment at the end as well. So if anybody has any public comments on the agenda items, by all means. Going once. So, okay. Yeah.
Right, many times we don't get to lift this very often, so this is good. I'm going to take advantage of this. Well, thank you guys.
Sorry, name it.
Pete Reddy,
name-
exactly.
Thank
Pete
you.
Reddy, 7 Rustic Lane. For those that don't know me in the room, I've been on the school board the last 11 plus years. I currently serve as president. Did that 3 years ago, so it's been around a while. Youngest kid graduated last year, so I'm now a regular taxpayer like a lot of folks in this room, which is pretty cool. What I want to say is, I've made a point not coming to your guys' meetings over the years. I usually stay in my lane. And then speaking, I never speak at your meetings. But I thought it was important tonight just to speak on behalf of the school board and in appreciation and thank you for the ordinance and the resolution that you put up there for selling or buying Addie Lupker's house. And for those in the audience that don't know, 2018-19, when we had the 2020 referendum, we purchased that house. And one of the main reasons we purchased that house was, okay, we didn't want 7-Eleven, Khan Academy, and whatever other business that could possibly purchase it. So, we had really no plan when we bought it. We, maybe we make a board office, maybe a historical society, whatever it was going to be. But we've been taking care of it a bunch of years, and I think this is a great win-win for the town. Obviously, the town and a lot of people in town should be aware that we have about a $5 million deficit. And the last 2 years, we've been taking out of our reserve and capital budget, I believe $1 million to the date. And right now, our reserves are definitely empty. So this is definitely going to help for that and whatever other opportunities we might need to use the money for. So on behalf of the board, the administration, just want to say thank you. Appreciate the support. I continue the dialogue that we've had for the last year and the last bunch of years. It's very important and helpful. And I think there's great opportunities with that property and what you guys could do with it. And I look forward to it. So thank you.
Thank you, Pete. And I just want to quickly say, one, I very much appreciate the partnership we have with the Board of Education. I do also want to mention, this was an idea we floated back last year with then Mayor Foster's permission to the former board president, Chris DeMari, and Allison Lepresti, vice president. We re-engaged this year with you guys on this, and you guys reminded me of it, actually, which I appreciate. But I do also, want to be very clear. It is. I want to apologize a little bit. I didn't mean to be as specific as I was on the use of the dollars for the social media with the social media post I put out there. The fact of the matter is, we don't weigh in on board policy. The $1 million that will come out of the purchase of Addie's house goes to whatever priorities the board thinks it should go to. And so, working fast. I sort of misspoke or mistyped with some specific items on there, and I do apologize for that, guys. We trust you obviously with the money, and whatever you think the priorities are for it, we support that, and we'll continue to support our schools. So. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Patrick Trisquita, 56 Line Road. I too support the purchasing of the property now that it from the Board of Education, from the open space funds. That's exactly what the open space funds are for. It will keep it forever as preserved land, and Homedale could find a very good use for it at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's a good point, Pat. We are purchasing this out of the open space fund. It was a fiscally responsible way for us to do this. It allows us to purchase it and bond over 40 years. And it's money that we can pay off quickly, but that as sort of debt service won't be, have marginal impact on our overall budget, so we can manage it more effectively that way. The other benefit of the open space fund being used for this is it legally restricts the use of the property. So to Pete's point earlier, a 7-Eleven can't go there, right? This is going to be the house as it is, or it's going to be open space. It's going to be maintained. There's very little that can be done, which I think is important considering it sits right in front of our school and in the center of our town. Anybody else for a comment on agenda items? Mr. Little.
Bill Little, 8 Coventry Square. I just had a question about consent agenda item 82, the one with the tree replacement trust fund. I couldn't quite figure out what it was meaning. It looks like just some kind of pro forma thing that sets up if the money comes in, it goes over here and blah, blah, blah. But could you expand on what that's for a little bit?
Mike, you want to hit that one?
I might defer to Chris if that's all right.
He's raising his hand for it. Go ahead, Chris.
So yes, no problem. So yes, we did the tree ordinance last year, and when we did that, we need a place to put that money because it's specific. That money can't just be used for anything. Well, as you guys all know, and we're not thrilled with it, but we're kind of stuck with it. The resilience project that JCP&L did, they were going around cutting trees. Well, they cut $27,000 worth of trees. So that fund is now going to be heavily funded by JCP&L, and that allows us later on to go ahead and plant some trees in other places. So that's all we're going to use it for. So it's going into a trust, and as needs come up where we want to replant trees, that's what we're going to do with it. So JCP&L was just like anybody else. They're a private company. They do public stuff, but they're a private company, and they have to pay the bill. So they have for each one of those trees they took down.
Good, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Jenny Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. I had a very similar question for consent agenda number 81. What is the mayor's ceremony donation fund? That's a new one on me. You planning on having a whole lot of ceremonies?
Pomp and
Serving champagne?
There is an ordinance on tonight actually that addresses wedding ceremonies. So under state law, the mayor is authorized to perform weddings.
Yeah.
The legislature added that the municipal clerk is now authorized as well to perform weddings. So we saw fit to update the ordinance to establish that the mayor and the township clerk, pursuant to state law, may do that. There's
But
also
they've been doing it for decades.
correct.
But not the clerk, right? I mean,
Not the
that's-
clerk.
Yeah.
But there's a provision in the ordinance that asks essentially for a donation that goes to support fire or first aid when someone books a wedding. This just clarifies the resolution allows for the establishment of that revenue. So anytime there's a new revenue source, you technically need to do this resolution and submit to DCA
Oh, well,
actually.
It doesn't say so, and it doesn't say what the mayor is supposed to do with it. Have champagne for the bride and groom?
No, the money's going to come into the township, and then it'll be utilized for those purposes to support fire and first aid.
Oh, it should say so. Otherwise, we're all sitting here scratching our head and getting white hair.
Unfortunately, yeah, understood. The resolution is kind of a pro forma one that DCA requires, so I think it just followed the DCA language, just like the other one, and
Like, it conveys no information.
that's usually what ordinances that need to, resolutions that need to go to Trenton
That's why
are
I
like.
come up here
So,
and ask
yeah.
questions.
Understood.
Your idea is better, Jenny, about the champagne, though.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Chandana Rao, 57 Oaks Drive. Really quick question about the ordinance with relation to the Addie Holmes house, right? When it was purchased by the BOE at that time, it was very odd that a house would be purchased by the BOE. But notwithstanding that, I understand, your impetus to buy it, and I think it's a very lovely, quite generous impetus. I understand that it's a bond, right, that's being paid to the open source fund, but does that mean there's a tax later on through the years, or there will be no tax on taxpayers?
No, there shouldn't be any tax associated with this at all.
It's an existing tax you've already paid. So,
Yeah.
So it's whatever we have left over in that trust as it comes in, it could use for different things. The bond itself will be paid back through the open space trust. So it's not a new tax. It's a tax you're already paying.
Okay.
And what's nice is because it's open space and it is property, it is a real property, it can be paid off over 40 years.
And
All
so
right.
that's not going to change our taxes?
It will not change your taxes. No, it stays where it is.
All right, great, thank you.
Anyone else for public comment on agenda items? Mr. Weisfeld.
Which one's this one? Matt Weisfeld, 10 Riverside Lane.
Agenda items only.
When did we lose class pets? Is that serious?
I guess so, man. I don't know. I've been in school in like 30 years.
We had the guinea pigs, we had all the other stuff and everything. It did teach responsibility. And just to throw out there, the chickens, tax write-off. We could sell this whole thing. We turn Homedale into a farm. We get enough chickens. We get free eggs. Not a bad idea at all. Really quick, because I'm a little behind on the whole house thing that just happened. Is this about like other stuff like the Coles property and things like that, or is that later?
No, that's entirely different.
Okay, then with the house things, I'm getting caught up on that and everything. So, and it's a great idea. Who did that? What started all of that and everything? It's a.
Yeah, so just Matt, just because you weren't here, I think earlier, we are going to keep everything to 3 minutes this time around, just so you know. But yeah, no, look, this was an idea we had.
Well, I'm not campaigning. All the other guys seem to have. Why not?
No. This was an idea we had last year as a way to help the schools out and also protect, the property there. The previous board thought it was a good idea. The current board thought it was a good idea and actually reminded us of it as a concept. And it's something that is, it's something we can manage fiscally through the open space fund.
But that's kind of BS though, because this was kind of not really addressed last year in this sense. I'm only saying it because again,
It was just an idea last year.
No.
that we talked
I
about.
mean, as far as last year, because I was talking to other board members who are not here. Not here in general, everything before I said everything else, where it just seems like this was something that was trying to get done last year. And again, all good all around. It's just that it's an election year. So now all of a sudden we're going to have all sorts of stuff going on and all wacky. And with something as big as this, and again, I just don't have the info. So, I mean, again, I'm like, so
look,
I got crayon notes.
Well, look, first of all, every year is an election year in Homedale, right? I mean, that's right. So I don't think that, that has no bearing on this whatsoever. Last year, Brian, as mayor, committed the $600,000. Again, we ended up paying for it. It had to get bonded. It took a minute, but that was a commitment Mayor Foster drove. We've been paying for SLEOs, et cetera, et cetera. So every year's an election in Homedale, man. This is like 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 on that.
Okay, I just thought it was interesting that the time limit did not even exist last time, to the point where people are addressing the audience and everything else. And by the way, I'm actually not annoyed about that thing. I got something completely different, but I'll save it for later. So anyway, with that being said, thank you, because I'm getting caught up on the house thing. So, but let's get some chickens, let's get some class pets, and thank you for the time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Public or agenda items only? Yes, sir.
Ron Emma, 32 Ladwood Drive, and in full disclosure, I'm sure you know, I have filed a petition to run for Township Committee. Thank you. Question on the House. It seems to me that, though it's a grand gesture, it doesn't really solve the BOE's revenue problem. It just transfers ownership from them to us. But I still think it's a good idea. But my question is, what happened? Apparently, what is it going to be used for? And the upkeep to bring it up to code has been bandied about up to $1 million to bring it up to ADA code, lead paint, etc. So is that now obviously the town's responsibility? And what is it going to be used for? That's number one. And I have a second question about the prosecutors. I believe Kim LaMountain was appointed town prosecutor this year at a salary of around 50 grand. And now you are appointing 3 alternate prosecutors. So my question is, that's not going to cost, those 3 alternates are going to use part of her salary, right? It's not in addition to her salary. Is that correct? And the second question is, why do we need 3 alternates? Have we ever had 3 alternates before? Has the caseload tripled? Like, why do we need 3 alternates? That's it.
We have had them in the past.
3?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And also, the administrative office of the courts requires the alternates to be on a resolution, or else court can't move forward. So that's part of the reason that there were 3 names put up, just so that if there's ever an issue over the course of this year, presumably one of the 3 would be able to serve for the day.
Yeah, so in relation to Addie's house, right now the intention is we keep it as is. If we feel a need to use it for some kind of public purpose, it'll be brought to code. In the meantime, we felt like we were helping to contribute to the schools, and we were going to procure, if you want to call it an asset, procure an asset in doing so. That there's about 3 acres of property there, if I'm not mistaken, and so we'll, first and foremost, it was how can we help? This is a good way to help, and we'll, as we did with Potter's Farm, and everything else, we'll plan as we go.
Totally agree, it's a good idea, but I just worry about the upkeep. If you do have to bring it up to code, it's now our problem.
And any upkeep comes out of the open space fund that we currently have, so it's not going to be an incremental cost of the taxpayers. As we maintain it, it'll come out of that same fund that we're using to purchase it.
Thank you.
Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Hi, it's Sarah Cho at 4 Putnam Court. I guess addressing your post that came late last night, a lot of us only heard of it kind of through the grapevine.
Is this going to be tied to an agenda item? Because this is for agenda items only.
Yeah, it's for the Addie House.
Okay.
Why was that decision made at the 11th hour, and why was it tied to courtesy busing and, staffing issues? And I understand before I came you said that you had misspoke, but was that statement based on a conversation you had with Board of Ed members, or was that something that you assumed would happen?
No, so there's to answer both or 2 parts of your question. So one, it wasn't done at the 11th hour. It's something we've been talking about on and off for about in seriousness for about a month, give or take, I think. So we just were able to ensure that we had the right pieces in place to get it on the agenda to introduce it tonight. So I wanted to make sure that people understood we were doing that. That's why it wasn't an 11th hour thing. It was, we had to go to bond counsel, we had to get certain things done in order to go in that direction. So it's been talked about for quite some time, and we were able to, and as we got up to this, we were able to execute it in line with budget expectations and timelines. We have had conversations with the Board of Ed in the past about courtesy busing specifically and other items. My mistake, the conversations had evolved since then, and my mistake very simply was, truth be told, I shouldn't have said anything other than we're looking to help with the challenges they have. I don't weigh in on what the board does with the money. We provide $500,000 in operating relief every year. We don't ask where that goes. This $1 million is up to them and their priorities. So I misspoke on that. That was part of earlier conversations. The priorities shifted, or the expectations may have shifted. That's up to the board and how they want to handle it.
Okay, so is that sale, if it's voted on to happen, what other, I guess, conditions are there going to be, or is it just a straight up, here's the cash and here's the real estate?
I don't have any intention to put conditions on it. We said we would help, and this is how we're going to help. Pete spoke earlier and spoke a bit about what he intended to do, what he and the board intend to apply it towards, and we support that if that's their decision.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Franco. You have to stoop pretty. You have to get pretty low for that one.
Pete Franco, 5 Hopbrook Lane. To the alternates for the prosecutor, I think the optics of having Kim's husband up there is just doesn't look good. To the Addy House, when you talk about the open space fund, about how much do you guys from that fund would go towards this? When someone talked about renovations down the road if it needed be.
Right. Well, I'm sorry, so I'm not sure.
The cost. In other words, how much of the, you said you would use open space fund money to.
Well, we've got what, 2.2 million in there now, Chris, give or take?
Yeah, but we this year alone we're getting $700,000 more than we did in the past. So it does increase over time with the ratables and stuff like that. But to know exactly what it would be hard to say if we don't even know what we're going to do with it if we do anything with it at any point.
But an older home like that, if there's lead, if there's asbestos, if it's got to be brought to code, and if someone mentioned say $1 million.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
If that needs to be done, then it'll come out of the open space fund to do it, and we'll do it over a prescriptive sort of path, not all at once. We're not going to drain the fund all at once if we want to bring this thing up to code.
The purchase of the home, you're using open space fund money for the purchase. And
Correct.
It's what, like 50 grand?
It's $1 million.
It's $1 million over 40 years.
You're taking a bond.
Yeah, over 40 years.
Okay.
We don't know what the rates are at this point because we haven't gotten that point yet.
But over 40 years, $1 million is going to cost essentially $3 or $3.5
depends.
million.
Well, it could, but it depends on when we pay it back. Listen, we often we'll take these and we'll pay them back faster.
No, from the outside looking in, I just think, I know that they need money, and I know you say it's protect open space, but again, back to the pilot, it just seems that you're protecting the pilot money. So rather than finance our future away and issue bonds, it just seems to be a common word for something. We need something, we're going to bond it. A sewer, we're going to bond it. A firehouse, potentially over at the we're going to bond it. It just seems that we're going to be writing checks that we can't cash right now. And 30 years from now, we're still going to be paying for this stuff off. I just think that, again, you're protecting that box with the pilot money, and I think we should unload it on the schools again. That's where I'm going with this. I think to take a bond for something that we can't afford now, maybe we just shouldn't buy it.
But, okay, I appreciate your comment. I mean, but from your perspective, it sounds like you think we can.
Can buy it?
But that's what it sounds like. You said we can't afford it.
I'm saying if we can't afford it
Right.
now, right, you're going to basically take a loan for it. You guys are making a great gesture to basically give the Board of Ed $1 million. But it's not $1 million. You escalate that. You add interest into that. You add in down the road future repairs. If you guys are, whatever money it's going to cost to repair it, is it going to be another bond down the road? There, we're going to be taking the finance this.
Well, we also need two things. I think one from the open space fund alone. One key component of this was, as I said earlier, it constricts the use of the property.
Understood.
Right.
Yes.
So that's one. So that means, look, 10 years from now, it means a different township committee can't turn around and say we should put a hotel there or make something up. Right. So that's to me, that's the primary benefit of leveraging the open space fund. The second benefit to it is it's not by bonding for it, it helps us manage budget impact this year in and out years, as opposed to pulling $1 million out of any cash reserves we have and ultimately negatively affecting our bond rating. Because because those dollars are depleting, and our bond rating is going to take a hit if we don't make sure we're not smart about how we do these things.
Okay.
Anybody else? Oh, just one, Sarah, no, just one, not just one per topic. You could ask a public comment. No, Sarah, no. Sarah,
Is the money
Sarah,
going to go?
Sarah, only one question per
Cash
topic.
infusion.
When
Is
we
that gonna
when we
happen?
go to public comment, you can ask again.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Mr. Damari.
Chris Damari, Seven Oaks. To Rocco and Brian, for two guys who, this is about Addie's house, which we spoke about quite often on my tenure of the board. I appreciate the gesture. I appreciate that board leadership, Pete and Kim, have continued to manage this relationship between the Township Committee, which has proven helping out the schools. But for two guys who were not even around when the pilot originated, you guys take a tremendous amount of heat for what was structured that you had nothing to do with. And over the time span of me getting involved, I didn't know anything about the pilot until I got involved, and then you learn about it. And yeah, you initially say, oh, why isn't the schools getting money? And then you start communicating to members of the community, not just people in the schools community. You have to look at this at a macro view, the greater good view. And you start to recognize, now we have put out there through census data that 70% of the households in Homedale no longer have children. And when you're out there speaking to people, I actually bumped into a senior citizen today at Bell, and she said, how could I get some relief for the tax money I sent to the schools? And that's a common thread. And I think that when we're communicating within the schools community, we need to remember that there's a whole other community in Homedale that's also supporting the funds and the taxes that support the 69% that goes to the schools. That's an $80 million budget. But I do appreciate that you guys have continued to support the schools like nobody else on that dais has ever. And that should be recognized rather than you guys getting attacked for how that structure was created. So thank you for that. For the board, they've got a tremendous amount of tough decisions that they're not responsible for. We've spoken over and over again about what's going on there. There's really no money for us to do anything or for the board to do anything with that school. So it's great, I guess, that the town's taking it over, and I hope that it just all works out for the entire community. So thanks for the continued support, and thanks to Pete and Kim for continuing to keep the engagement. And that's very important, and hopefully that never stops moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I see someone in the back. Are we what? I'm sorry. It's for agenda items only, Mr. Principi.
Oh, isn't this agenda?
I know.
Because he just did it. He just said, thank you for...
He spoke to Addie's house. He spoke to Addie's house
No,
in the
he
board
said
relations.
pilots. That you guys had nothing to do with the pilots prior to, but aren't you pushing for this pilot?
Yeah, and the schools are,
Vonage?
yeah, and the schools are getting a piece of that. Anybody else? All right, let's move on to the consent agenda.
On the consent agenda, it would be for resolutions 2026-78 through 2026-88.
When can you pull for separate discussion 84 and 86?
84 and 86, yes. So this would be, do we need a motion to pull them? No. So this would be for 2026-78 through 2026-88, excluding 2026-84 and 2026-86.
Okay, motion?
Motion. Second.
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Impreviduto?
Yes.
The specific resolutions for the consent agenda have been successfully passed.
Okay. Do we want to have discussion on these two?
Chris, can you give just a little insight on 84? What is Cablevision asking for?
Do you want mine, Chris?
This is something that we're just renewing, I believe. So that we're required to give them the right of way. We just have to do it by resolution. They're up for their renewal on that. So it's just giving them the rights to get into our right of way to do whatever work they actually need to get done. I mean, it's pretty standard. It's one of those that we were just talking about before, where we get them sent to us and we're basically told you have to do it, but you have to do it by resolution.
So it's for them to be able to put
Work
fiber
or make
right-of-ways.
repairs, stuff like that. Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
86? Well, actually, should we vote on 84 before we go to 86?
Yeah, want to do that?
Can I have a motion?
Moved.
Mr. Bontempo?
I need to recuse myself on 84.
Oh, okay. Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Impreviduto?
Yes.
Okay, 2026-84 has been successfully passed. Thank you.
86?
Chris, this is supplementing what we approved in the January 5th meeting, correct?
It would be to be a substitute for the prosecutor if she can't make an occasion or a court session, or if there's a special session. I can attest that every town has to do this. For a while towns weren't doing it, and it really made a big problem for the courts. It delayed things. So the courts came down and said, no, this is what you need to have it in place. And often, listen, I got to be honest with you, there is not a lot of prosecutors out there anymore. They're hard to find. It's an unforgiving, I guess, job, and not too many people want to do it. So the list isn't surprising to me. I don't know where you're going to find them, because a lot of them are already subbing for other people. They have court the same days, so you have to be available for those days. And if you don't have 3, that's when you run into a problem. Well, I already subbed for somebody else that day, so I can't make it. And we cancel court sessions, things fall behind, and there is restrictions, and I know Michael can attest to this as well. Things have to be heard in a certain amount of time, or they can get thrown out, like DWIs. They're all requirements. So I think that's why the courts are pushing for this. Again, we're kind of guided by whatever the state says, and we're following that rule.
So familiar with Cosgrove, because we appointed him a couple of years ago, Mike. But the other 2, I'm not familiar with. I didn't get a resume.
Yeah, this actually didn't come through me. This goes through the courts. Right. So I don't know how they were chosen. But and I believe that they just go on as regular appointments. I assume, Michael, that's the way it would be. But they're approved already by the courts as they're already sitting prosecutors in other towns. So that's usually how they work. In the past, I've seen what they used to do is like, oh, I'll just call my friend to cover me. That doesn't always work because they're not available. So.
Okay.
Okay, motion.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Bontempo?
No.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
No.
Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Impreviduto?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2026-86 has been successfully passed. Thank you. Next is introduction of ordinance, which is a bond ordinance 2026-11, which is providing for improvements to various township roads by and in the Township of Homedale in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $300,000 therefor, including a $250,000 grant from the New Jersey Department of Transportation in connecting with the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program, and authorizing the issuance of $50,000 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. This motion is to adopt on first reading, publish on the Homedale Township website, and set the public hearing for April 14th, 2026.
Hey, Chris, just before we get into this grant was procured in 2021?
This grant was, yes, it was procured in 2021. It was advertised. It was awarded. There was several news articles on it. I guess the committee back then had done 2 ordinances for safe streets, and this was going towards that because it was a joint grant with other communities. There's several communities in it, I believe Highlands being one of them, and Monmouth County. So Monmouth County has the overall larger grant of it, and then we're supplemental grants under theirs. So it's a whole plan, and I believe CME actually was the engineer at the time, and they are the ones who applied for the grant and did all the reporting and stuff. So yes, this is, and again, it is for a study, but if we get this study done, it can lead to implementation grants like, hey, we need crosswalks here, we need new lights here, we need bigger lights here. We can actually apply for them, but these you have to go through this part of the grant first.
So there's a mapping component that comes with this.
100%. That's why a few months ago the committee approved a engineer to actually start to work on this, but we did put a stop to it just recently until this bond is actually approved, because I can't move forward then. So.
Chris, we've also had, I guess, a bunch of complaints and some issues with some of the roads and streets in town. Is it my understanding that this would help alleviate some of those issues?
Yes, Deputy Mayor. There's going to be, so this, I guess, these been going on for years. I mean, prior to me getting here and prior to most of you being on it, I believe these problems were on for many, many years, and that's why they came forth with those 2 resolutions back in 21, requesting, us to go after grants like that and make a safe school plan, a safe street plan. This just allows us to get that plan and then allows us to go for implementation later.
Thank you for the clarification. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Need a second?
Second.
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
I'm going to be a yes, Wendy, but I want to see if I could walk something on as well after.
Okay. Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Pravaduto?
Yes.
Okay, so ordinance 2026-11 will be set for public hearing.
Yep.
Are you asking for the floor, Committeeman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to see if we could vote on if we could duplicate the bailout package we gave the BOE last year in relation to the courtesy busing, since there was language specific to preserving the courtesy busing. I think the House is great. I know we all had meetings with different people throughout the year last year. I had a great meeting with Ray Kim. But one of the things I liked about the package we did last year is that it had language specific in it that said that if the money went through, that there had to be courtesy busing preserved. So I'd like to take a vote if we could pass that same language verbatim this go around to make sure that the township doesn't lose courtesy busing.
I mean, we can go for a vote. My opinion is that, the board is right to do with what, just an opinion. The board has a right to do with the money that they see fit, and they might have different priorities than they did a year ago, but we can go for a vote on that.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll second it.
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not trying to question anything. I just want to make sure
I'd like to
mechanically.
take the verbiage, exactly how we wrote it last year, and copy it and just update the address, because there was specific language in there that tied it to preserving courtesy buses.
So last year there was a shared services agreement done that provided the Board of Ed with, I believe it was $600,000 towards capital, and there was a condition in the shared services agreement that the courtesy busing would be maintained for last school year. Is the motion here relative to a condition on the proposed purchase tonight, or are you proposing a separate shared services agreement?
Separate shared services agreement.
And for a certain sum, the same sum certain? Or
Same sum. I just wanted to go towards the courtesy busing.
I don't think I'm prepared to vote on that tonight. I think I'd actually prefer to get the opinion of the Board of Education and what they think their priorities are before I have an opinion on whether or not we should be voting on this. I don't want to force something that they're not in favor of. It's going into their budget.
I agree with that 100%. We've had discussions throughout the year, throughout last year, about how we can help them and how we can assist them. Forcing this down their throat, I'm not comfortable with it at all.
Well, I think the language was, Mike, you said it was for multiple items, including courtesy busing, correct?
No, it wasn't that.
No, the shared services agreement was intended to be a one-time support of capital needs, because the board actually appealed to the township committee contending that a lot of the recreation that goes on in Homedale is in support of extracurriculars that are not necessarily school specific, HYA and the like. So the thought was that based upon a lot of the capital expenses they've incurred, the township found that to be a township purpose because, the township needs to have a nexus to supporting township funds. So that 600,000 was computed based upon that, and the Board of Ed was required to provide documentary evidence of that 600,000 being attributable to that as a condition of receiving that funding ultimately because it was pursuant to a bond.
Yeah, so I can't see why we wouldn't vote on this. It wouldn't do anything but benefit the schools.
Well, I think it's up to the Board of Education to make that determination.
I think preserving courtesy busing is a priority for many citizens here, and I'd like to vote on it.
If we're gonna lose more teachers because of courtesy busing, I'm not in favor of that. My kids would also be subject to that. So I'm not comfortable with losing more teachers because of that. If we can't settle the budget.
I'm not suggesting this in lieu of the Addy House. I'm suggesting this in addition to the Addy
I
House.
understand exactly how but giving them more money and forcing them to do this might lose other teachers' jobs, and I'm not comfortable and I'm not ready to do that.
I disagree.
I would say, Mike, is protocol with a motion and a second to get a vote?
Committeeman, once the discussion is concluded among the committee, then the mayor would call for a roll call vote.
I'm
once
sorry,
the
so
discussion's
are you suggesting 1.6 million or 1 million for the Addy House and then 600,000 for, or
I'm
whatever the cost of?
suggesting- Yeah, well, the Addy House is a bond through the Open Space Fund, right? So there's that, and I'm saying, in addition to that, I'm suggesting we renew the agreement we had with the Board of Ed last year to preserve the courtesy busing.
So Joe, I'm just trying to, are you talking about the $1 million, the $1,030,000 that we're going to use to purchase the Addy Lubkert House comes with the condition of preserving
No,
courtesy busing?
no.
No, you want 1.6 million to go to the schools?
Yes.
Okay, where are we going to find the other 600,000?
We'll find it.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got budget season coming up, so my belief is we should table the discussion until we get to budget season and open the budget up to the township. So is that, do we have to have a vote on tabling, or can we just table the discussion to the next meeting?
Well, how does it work? I mean, Pete
There's a-
Reddy is here. How does it work with
there's
their
a-
budget? Don't they have a budget meeting tomorrow? How could we table it?
Well, 'cause it sounds like you're really forcing their hand.
I'm not. I'm renewing the same agreement that we gave them last year. I want to renew the same agreement.
Yeah,
But you're asking for in addition to the 1 million that we're approving tonight. How can we approve another 600,000 without even looking at what our budget is for next year?
Because their meeting is tomorrow.
No, our budget.
Our budget,
The
Joe.
municipal budget.
Like raising taxes on people because we're
Where's the
not sure
600
where
coming
we're gonna
from?
land.
We have to find it.
We do. I mean, if you want to lay off police officers,
If we didn't agree to it, I mean, what are the agreement with the Addy House doesn't have any provisions in there to save the courtesy busing. So if they don't have the money to preserve courtesy busing, why don't we just renew the agreement we have last year and figure it out? I don't understand.
well, because just figuring it out and sort of throwing it out there isn't really much of a plan, right?
But there's a need.
Understand-
We will figure it out. We will find the money. The township is not in debt. We could find the money to do it.
Township's not in debt, but the surplus is declining.
Well, then it needs to decline another 600,000.
But
I don't. We can't lose
So
the
you're
courtesy
in
busing.
favor of raising taxes for it?
If we have to do so to preserve courtesy busing, yes.
Okay.
I think we have a different perspective.
This is our discussion, correct?
Yeah.
So, Mike, what's the protocol on this? Do we end up having to now vote this thing down if we don't agree?
It sounds like it's two separate items,
It does to me as well.
right? So are we approving we have to vote on the bond?
It's a second, he wants to walk on a resolution, so we approved the initial bond. Addy's house is approved.
Right.
No,
Because he wants an additional 600,000, it's just an entirely separate thing.
the one.
Addy's House is not approved. The introduction
The
is
intro-
approved.
Introduction is
It
approved.
has not been
No,
approved.
no, folks, the introduction
so-
has not yet occurred.
No, it did.
Oh,
It did.
it did.
2026-11 is being, it was.
11 is not Addy's.
13 is, right?
13
I'm sorry.
13, 12 and 13 are. I don't want to get in the way of the committee's discussion. The only thing that I will point out from a legal standpoint is that the way the 600,000 shared services agreement was done last year was that the 600,000 was bonded. So in order for a shared services agreement to be operative and allow for the 600,000, there would need to be a bond ordinance prepared, introduced, and finally adopted that would support that funding. So I just throw that out there just to
can't-
be clear on what we did last year.
So if we
Other
repeat
than
last
that,
year,
that's up to you guys.
So if we repeat last year, we can't even vote on this thing to introduce it right now.
There's no way it would be effective because you would need a bond ordinance prepared. You cannot introduce a bond ordinance by title, so we'd have to have bond counsel prepare such a bond for a subsequent meeting.
So we,
You could certainly make a motion to direct that be done if that's the desire, but I just want to be clear on that. And otherwise, if the 600,000 is not being bonded for, I would defer to your CFO to establish it coming out of the general fund for the calendar year budget.
yeah, and we can't pull more than $500,000 out there without understanding the implications of that. So it's going to have to be something that we bond for, if we go down that road. So we approve the introduction of the ordinance.
Or vote on it. Vote on the.
Right now, on the table before the governing body is, I believe, Committeeman Romano's motion.
So his motion needs to be, according to you, Mike, needs to be to have a bond ordinance created.
That would be it. If you're asking me how to make last year's arrangement operative this year, I would suggest that there are 2 action items that would need to be approved. The first would be a shared services agreement with the same language, which I'm not disputing. If you're saying it's a copy-paste job, it's a copy-paste job. The other would be a bond ordinance to introduce and then finally adopt to support the 600,000, because otherwise the CFO wouldn't be able to certify to the funds because they wouldn't be there.
Got it. Okay.
I think also, just so we all know, you have to also make sure that they're specific to what they're going to be using that bond for. So without knowing that tonight would be difficult also. So we would need to get from the school what they want to use that bond, because we have to show the auditor what we're using that money for. That's why we asked them to give us receipts on what we just did. It's a bond. It's not just money out of our budget.
So if it's busing, we could get an invoice from the school, from their vendors, stating that the cost for their busing
You
is
can't
X.
bond busing.
Yeah, I don't believe.
What would happen last year is they bonded maintenance, certain upgrades and maintenance, and they took the money they were
From
going to
there?
do for maintenance and slid it over. So it was like a shuffle around of the money. So that's why we would need to know what they're going to do with the 600,000, and then we can say, all right, yeah, if you guys agree to it, then we absolutely could go ahead and put it up on a bond. But I just need to know what that is, and I will do whatever you guys want me to do.
Okay.
So.
All right. And then we're going to have to, listen, even to move this forward, not only do we need a bond, we have to coordinate with the Board of Education to see if there's something they can do with it. So it's not. So Mike, what's the
Rocco, they're $5
order of
million
operations
in
here?
debt. They'll find something to do with it.
I mean, I don't think Pete. I mean, I could be wrong, Pete. Do you want to just stand up and start shooting from the hip on this? Like, I don't like. I'm aware they're in debt. I'm just.
If you give me a minute.
And by the
I
way,
can't see how they couldn't find something to do with it when they have that much debt.
I'm not saying they couldn't. I'm saying that we're not going to pull $600,000 in cash out of the general fund and not know the implications of that. If we have to bond for it, we have to go to bond counsel, as Mike just said. And then in order to do that, the Board of Education has to come to, and in addition to that, the Board of Education has to come to us with specifics around that. This isn't just a walk-on, throw it out there kind of thing is the point.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the
Pete.
only thing I would say is absolutely not going to talk about, on behalf of the 9 members on the Board of Ed, because that would be totally out of my line. We have a meeting tomorrow. This is something we can discuss tomorrow in executive session. What I can tell you is, thank you. We do have a $5 million deficit. Obviously, any money can help. Obviously, we've used our, reserves the last couple of years to pay for it. So anything would be helpful. But yeah, we would need the whole board to talk about it. And you're exactly correct. Last year we used it for maintenance because you can't use it for busing. And the only thing I'll say about courtesy busing is this: every year when we had our audit, Mike Patrizzo, who was the BA for 20 years, they would get flying colors, A's across the board. The only thing that would get picked on is this courtesy busing thing over here is financially irresponsible according to state statutes. And we've been doing it for years and years and years. Why? Because we've been able to. We're at the point in the road that we aren't really there anymore. And what Deputy Mayor Forster said about, is it more teachers, more staff, or is it raising taxes? It's, we're at a very difficult spot. So it would be one thing we'll bring back to the Board of Education, the administration. I'm sure Dr. Cascone will be very interested and happy about the suggestion. But yeah, and then we'll find out, hey, if you can do it, how it would be attached and how it would work. But
So, Pete, I didn't realize that. So the state auditor says that courtesy busing is actually a red flag?
for the last 12 years or the last 11 years I sat on the board, we get our QSAC and we get all the finance auditors every year. And every year, Mike Patrizzo will get an A+. The business office has done a tremendous job. And the one thing, and Brian was on the board back in the day, they would point to courtesy busing every year. If you're 2.5 miles from the high school or 2 miles to any of the elementary schools, that's technically, the state would say you should not be busing those children. And I know my kids graduated, we'd be walking to village school or whatever it was where I would be. But we've always had it because our budgets weren't where they are now. You know, I know about 15, 20 years ago, I understand it was not courtesy busing. So if you live close enough to Village or Indian Hill, you'd be walking back then. But for the last 15 years at least, we've provided those services. So,
Okay.
yeah, so
All right,
thanks.
thank you for the context, Pete. It's helpful. So I think the motion from my vantage point is to adopt, where are we at, Wendy, 11 or 12?
No, we just did,
Right now, we still have
We
Committeeman
did 11.
Romano's motion on the table.
Mr. Romano's motion is on the table.
But, and the motion, Joe, again is?
I want to extend the same agreement we had verbatim with the Board of Ed, the 610,000 with the condition that we preserve courtesy busing.
All right, we can't, I mean, from my vantage point, we can't vote on that because Pete needs to sit with his board to apply the conditions to it. So, I mean, I could be wrong here. How can we vote to do something that we've had no discussion or coordination with around?
It can
So
be
I'd
conditional
vote-
to them approving it, right?
I'd vote to table the discussion until the board's had a chance to meet.
You have a right to make a motion to table.
I'd like to make a motion to table.
Table is a privileged motion, so you would call for a roll call on table.
Roll call?
No.
Okay, so this is a motion to table
The walk-on.
the resolution made by Committeeman Romano.
Okay.
Mr. Bontempo.
No.
Mr. Foster.
Yes, until I know that this is not going to impact more teachers being laid off or taxes being raised, yes.
Mr. Romano.
No.
Mr. Vanderham.
Yes, I think we need to see the municipal budget before we vote on 600,000 going to the schools. Sorry.
I think the school should have a say in that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Mayor Impreviduto.
Yes, thank you.
So we tabled the motion from Mr. Romano, correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Next, for the introduction of ordinances, is ordinance 2026-12, which is authorizing acquisition of Block 26, Lot 5 on the tax map of the Township of Homedale, 34 Crawford's Corner Road. This motion is to adopt on first reading, publish on the Homedale Township website, and set the public hearing for April 14th, 2026.
Got a motion?
Moved. Second.
Mr. Bontempo.
Yes.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
Mr. Romano.
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham.
Yes.
Mayor Impreviduto.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2026-12 will be set for public hearing. Next is for bond ordinance 2026-13, which is providing for the acquisition of certain real property by and in the Township of Homedale in the County of Monmouth, the State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,030,000 thereof, and authorizing the issuance of $952 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. This motion is to adopt on first reading, publish on the Homedale Township website, and set public hearing for April 14th, 2026.
Get a motion?
Moved. Second.
Mr. Bontempo.
Yes.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
Mr. Romano.
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham.
Yes.
Mayor Impreviduto.
Yes.
Okay, bond ordinance 2026-13 will be set for public hearing. Next is hearing on ordinance 2026-08, which is an ordinance regarding marriage and civil union ceremonies.
I get a motion. Oh, no, public hearing, sorry. I always do that. Public hearing on this? Going once, going twice.
Okay,
Closed.
this motion is to adopt on final reading and publish on the Homedale Township website according to law.
Get a motion?
Moved. Second.
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Impreviduto.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2026-08 has been successfully passed. Thank you. Next is ordinance 2026-09, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 30, Section 57, titled Drainage.
Public hearing on drainage? All right. Can I get a motion? Oh, there's one? I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Ann Bontempo, 22 Grandview Drive. Can you just go into some detail on what drainage is and what exactly this section or property is?
Chris, you want to go for that?
Okay, so currently we have multiple, when somebody comes in and wants to put a pool in their backyard, they want to put, landscaping, and they want to get one of the really done up backyards. They're not required like a developer to come in front of the board to make sure that they're not going to cause water hazards to their neighbors, cause flooding from what they put back there. There's certain things that they can do, and they haven't been getting looked at. So in the last couple of years, the town has been having an engineer look at it, but it's cost the town money on our end. And by that, I mean that we're paying for the people to have this looked at by one of our engineers. Currently, that is a cost that we don't want to budget for anymore. That shouldn't be on the town if you're putting something else in your backyard that could cause flooding, and it should be reviewed. So what this does, it allows us to have a checklist that you have to meet to make sure that you're not going to cause issues. It has to be reviewed by one of our engineers, and the payment for that engineer would come out of an escrow and not out of the township coffers.
So if somebody who owns a home wants to put an in-ground pool in their house or an above-ground pool,
yes,
they don't have to permit for that at all or go through the township?
Well, they still have to permit, but even when they have to permit, it doesn't have an engineer attached to that. This is attaching an engineer to it. Technically, they only have to get construction at that point, and construction's not looking to see if by putting this pool in, is it going to cause flooding on your neighbor's property. As long as it meets certain standards, we never flushed that before.
As far as the building envelope and permeable surface
yeah,
goes.
exactly. And the concern is it's been happening. It started happening more often. So
doesn't the zoning board?
They don't regulate the one-offs like that, the pools and stuff like that, especially if it doesn't, because even though it may say it's still good on pervious coverage, you might be doing something that's not appropriate for the land. So the engineer would come back and show this is what needs to be done, or your engineer needs to change this on your end if you have one. For example, I have one now that's coming through that the engineer that did it for them, their calculations are wrong. Our engineer caught that. And if the builder comes and takes those blueprints, they're going to build something that's going to actually be detrimental to either them, the homeowner themselves, or their neighbors. So this will prevent that. We're doing it anyway, but right now the town keeps paying that bill, where it should just be part of an escrow that people put out for like any kind of permit.
So the homeowner is going to be paying for the engineer that you hire.
Right. And just to make sure it's safe for them and for the neighbors, so the neighbors don't get hurt by their water.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion? Any other comment? Sorry. Okay, do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Pravaduto?
Yes.
Okay.
That was excellent.
2026-09 has been successfully passed. Thank you. Next is hearing for ordinance 2026-10, which is an ordinance amending section 30-16.6 titled Fees.
Public hearing on fees. Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Pravaduto?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2026-10 has been successfully passed and will be published in the Homedale Township website. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our administrator. Anything we missed this evening?
No, I think we got it all for now. Now I do want to say that I know the last meeting some people brought up potholes. There was a couple items that were brought up. We actually put down 50 tons worth of pothole repairs throughout the town. It's been pretty hefty. I know that we're still going though. It's a never-ending process. I'm glad we finally got to Miss Joe. I'm sorry about that. I kind of lost track of so many people asking me to come out and get it done. We're going to continue doing it, like on your property, we're actually going to come out and we're going to make a real repair there this summer. I got a couple more this afternoon, but we are aware of it. Another thing that was brought up last meeting, I know Mr. Nella was with the tree. Actually, that's a county tree, and it was checked. It's safe, but they are going to remove it. They just haven't gotten to it yet. So he confirmed it was safe for now, but they are going to remove it. The county said they will remove it. Supposedly, also the county was again out today on Homedale Road, filling potholes. Another issue is that the manhole covers. We got an email from them today telling us there are manhole covers, and they're not theirs, even though they're in the middle of their roads. So we're going back and forth. We're going to deal with that, but just so you're aware, we'll work through that one. And we're going to work on raising, especially the ones on Crawford. That one, I let our contractor know we're going to have that done before the project's closed out. If you see a tow, I'm not in charge of them. No, not in charge of anything. Definitely not. Yeah, but if you could send me if there's a problem with it, I'll reach out to whoever owns it. Okay? Yeah. All right. I think I hit it all.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Counselor?
Sure, Mayor. Just one item to share. At our past couple Township Committee meetings, we've heard public comment from the residents of Miller Avenue who are concerned about an approval by the Hazlet Land Use Board for a 7-brew coffee drive-through location, I guess essentially in the median for the Miller Avenue jug handle. I just want to report out that we did look into the approval, and just like any land use board approval, there were a significant amount of conditions that were imposed both in the board resolution and through representations on the record. So on behalf of the township, we did send a letter to the applicant imploring them to comply with the restrictions that were imposed upon them by the Hazlet Land Use Board, and that, essentially the township reserves all rights if those are violated. So we did look into that to advocate on behalf of the residents who came to the recent meetings on that.
Thank you, Mike. Moving on to the committee, Mr. Bontempo.
So I have a update from information technology. At the last meeting, I discussed our shared service agreement with Neptune City to provide them with a comprehensive information technology support. Beginning next month, we're going to additionally be entering a shared service agreement with the Borough of Little Silver. So Homedale is increasingly becoming seen as a blueprint for municipal governance, and by proactively seeking out shared service agreements, we're providing local governments that can maintain high quality services while reducing the burden of the individual taxpayer. There's also going to be the installation of cameras at township parks. Public safety, our information technology department is working with administration, Public Works, Recreation to plan the installation of security cameras at our municipal parks, including Crawford's Hill, the recently acquired, and Robert Wilson Park. So they're going to be going up in probably the near future as more people are getting out and about with hopefully better weather. That's it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Romano.
Starting with community development, we have a March Madness amnesty program. So it's backed by popular demand. Community development will once again be holding its March Madness amnesty program, allowing those who conducted work on their property without getting a permit to rectify the situation without penalty. There is a limited time penalty amnesty. From now through April 30th, 2026, Homedale Township is waiving all penalties for homeowners who performed work without the required permits and inspections. This program allows residents to rectify unpermitted work, such as finished basements, kitchen remodels, or water heater replacements, without facing standard fines of up to $2,000 per violation. Addressing these permits now prevents legal and financial hurdles during the property sale process, ensuring that your home meets standards. Residents can apply for permits via the Homedale Township website, by phone, or by visiting the Community Development Department on the second floor of Town Hall. From the library, on Tuesday, May 19th, the Homedale Library will be hosting an emergency preparedness seminar. Learn how to identify local risks, including the new Know Your Zone hurricane evacuation maps, and gain the skills to build a family go bag, which I have, and a comprehensive disaster plan. The library is hosting this session in conjunction with the Monmouth County Department of Health and Human Services to discover that specific supplies you, your family, and even your pets need to stay safe during an emergency. Thursdays are game days at the Homedale Library. We've heard your feedback. You want more mahjong and you want more bridge. Every Thursday is game day at Homedale Library. We have 5 tables of space and supplies. Join player-led casual games from 9:30 to 12 every week. The Lumen Strategy Group Chess Club also meets on Thursdays from 5 to 8. All ages and all skill levels are welcome. April's book club meeting will be on Tuesday, April 14th at 10 a.m. and we'll discuss the book The Masterpiece by Fiona Davis. May's book club meeting will be on Tuesday, May 19th at 10 a.m. and we'll discuss the book Shelterwood by Lisa Wingate. This month's book display themes include Read Across America, it's adult nonfiction, learn about robots, baseball, staff picks of adult fiction, books set in Ireland, Please note the Homedale Library will be closed on April 3rd and April 17th. From Public Works, a reminder that the first large item drop-off event of spring 2026 will be on Saturday, April 11th, between the hours of 8 a.m. through 2 p.m. at Bell Works, lot number 4, 101 Crawfords Corner Road. From the Recycling Office, we have some notes and reminders from the Recycling Office based on some questions we have received over the past few weeks. Residents are responsible for providing their own recycling containers. They cannot exceed 32 gallons in size and should be marked with a Township recycling sticker, which you can obtain at Town Hall. Recyclables should not be placed in plastic bags. Items in plastic bags will not be picked up. To ensure smooth collection, please flatten all cardboard boxes. Weather considerations: if the weather is windy, please take extra care to secure your recycling containers and items so they do not end up littering the street. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Vanderham?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Veterans Committee, the next Veterans Coffee and Conversations, it was mentioned last meeting as well, is this Thursday at 10:30 in the Senior Center. All veterans and Gold Star family members are invited to attend. Enjoy coffee, bagels, and pastries. If interested, please contact the Rec Department. Homedale Heritage Committee. The committee will be holding a Kites Festival in conjunction with the Homedale Harvest Fest this fall. The event will highlight the global history of kiting, particularly the Japanese and Chinese traditions that date back thousands of years. A member of the committee will be visiting Washington, D.C. the next month to learn from the upcoming National Kite Festival. Stay tuned for more details. The committee has installed a special display at Homedale Library commemorating Irish Heritage Month. It was put together by some of the Homedale Irish families and will be on display through March 31st. Please stop by the library to check it out. Homedale Green Team. The Green Team will be presenting their draft of Homedale's Community Energy Plan on Monday, April 6th at 7 p.m. in the Homedale Conference Room at Bow Works. All members of the public are invited. Your input will help us to improve this vital plan for our community. If the time isn't convenient, but you'd like to review the plan and provide feedback, please email the Green Team at greenteam@homedale.gov. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Committeeman. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of highlights for the Board of Education. Last weekend, Homedale High School's Alex Reyes capped an incredible wrestling career with a third-place finish at the state tournament. He's the only wrestler in school history with 4 district titles and also claimed a shore conference title and 3 regional championships. He finishes as Homedale's all-time wins leader with 163 victories. I think you saw that last victory, didn't you, Gary?
Absolutely.
Very cool. Congratulations, Alex. Homedale High School Johnson G., who I mentioned at last meeting for winning the state fencing championship, was named New Jersey Boys Fencer of the Year, recognizing an outstanding season of excellence on the state stage. He was ranked number 20 walking into that tournament, and he took home the state championship. Congratulations, Johnson. The Sats Middle School girls basketball team were crowned champions and queens of the shore at the Run for the Roses Invitational, capturing the title for the second time in 3 appearances. This is an annual tournament that features the top middle school teams from the Shore Conference. Individual honors included MVP Blake Gramando and first team all-tournament honors for Josephine Serini. Congratulations to them. Village School's Read Across America initiative resulted in a donation of 5,342 cereal boxes to Lunch Break in Red Bank, highlighted by a student-led cereal box domino event celebrating community service and school spirit. Very nice job. A new kindergarten sensory walk was installed at Village School through a Hackensack Meridian Health Mini Wellness Grant, designed to support regulation, focus, and readiness to learn through structured movement and mindfulness activities. SATS Principal Chantel Simonelli was recognized by the New Jersey Association for Middle Level Education as the 2026 Middle Level Administrator of the Year, honoring exemplary leadership and commitment to student growth and school climate. Congratulations, Chantel. From our recreation department, the Eggstravaganza Egg Hunt will take place at Cross Farm Park on this Saturday, March 28th, and is completely sold out with over 600 children registered. Hopefully you're attending. It's a great event. HYAA will be hosting their Hornet Fest on Friday, May 8th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Cross Farm Park. This event will include inflatables, food trucks, music by DJ Mel Houston, and more. The Billy DeMeo Foundation will be hosting the inaugural Billy DeMeo 5K Run Walk on Sunday, May 3rd, 2026 at 9 a.m. The event celebrates the life and legacy of Homedale's own Billy DeMario, a proud Homedale High School graduate whom we tragically lost last year. To honor his memory, we are coming together to turn tragedy into hope. Funds raised by the 5K will go to support the families of victims of violence. The 5K will notably start and conclude on Billy DeMayo Boulevard and will take participants throughout the Homedale community. Information on the race and the Billy DeMayo Foundation can be found at billydemayofoundation.com. We are encouraging all members of the Homedale community to participate in this event. The good news, the lights are back on at the courts at Bailey Lane starting tomorrow, March 25th. The lights are activated by a push-button system located on the far side of the volleyball court. Court users will push the silver button for their court area to activate the lights. The lights will remain on for 60 minutes. At 50 minutes, a strobe light will warn you your time is running down. Player can go and hit the button again for another 60 minutes of playtime. Power goes off at the park at 10 p.m., so the lights cannot be activated after that time until the next day. We ask that you only turn on the lights you need for the courts you are playing on. Security lights remain on until 10:30 p.m. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We had our community cleanup on Saturday. It was a great success. Volunteers tackled areas including Middletown Road, Centerville, Crawford's Corner, Ackerson Park, McCampbell Road, and Telegraph Hill. Big thank you to all of our neighbors and residents who came out. Thank you very much for that. It was a great day. And based on how quickly and thoroughly we filled the dumpster, it's pretty obvious we made a real impact in clearing trash from our streets and the greenways post, a rough winter. And a special thank you to the Recreation Department and Public Works team for organizing and executing the event, and to the Scouts of Pack 131 and Troop 331 for their participation. So thank you, kids, on that as well. I also want to take a moment to wish everyone Eid Mubarak, to all of our neighbors who celebrated this week. As the season of Ramadan comes to a close, may the year ahead bring you peace, joy, good health, and continued blessings. This month's mayor's office hours will be held this Saturday, March 28th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the Township Committee Conference Room. The first two have been really positive and constructive conversations. Once again, we invite all residents to stop by with questions, feedback, or suggestions. I've been really pleased with the response there. It's a great debate. The Homedale America 250 Committee. Join the Homedale America 250 Committee as we continue celebrating our nation's 250th semi-quincentennial anniversary with a township-wide adventure. The 250 Committee has been hard at work creating an American Revolution-themed scavenger hunt that will take participants to Homedale points of interest related to the Revolutionary War. Participation in the scavenger hunt is free and will utilize the Goose Chase app to track everyone's progress. This is a great event for families, friends, and neighbors to form teams to learn more about the history of Homedale, and we're hoping to have over 50 teams participate. The event will take place throughout the entire month of April and can be completed at any time at your own pace. There will be participation prizes for all teams, as well as prizes for the first, second, and third place teams. Winners will be honored at Township Committee meeting in May. Flyers for the Revolution-era scavenger hunt can be found on the table in the lobby foyer as you exit tonight. For questions, please contact the Recreation Department, and once again, that is the Goose Chase app. From the Police Department, construction scheduled for South Holland Road has been canceled this week. Please watch the Township and Police Department social media sites for information on when work will be scheduled to resume. Earlier today, 6th grade students from St. Benedict School graduated from the LEAD program. LEAD, which stands for Law Enforcement Against Drugs and Violence program, was instructed by Keith Plath, who serves as a special law enforcement officer at the school. The program teaches kids how to make healthy choices, resist peer pressure, and avoid drug use, bullying, and violence. Taught by specially trained police officers in a 10-week in-classroom curriculum, the LEAD program focuses on helping students to develop social and emotional skills. From the First Aid Squad, the Homedale First Aid Squad is approaching its 300th call of the year so far. Several EMT volunteers attended Hero Reader of the Day and read to our school children at Village School. And from the fundraising side of the house with the First Aid Squad, look for the squad's 2026 donation mailer in your mailboxes. Homedale First Aid does not and has never billed for their service. HFAS is made up of neighbors in your community who volunteer their time to ensure this remains a free service. Deputy Mayor was a driver for them for quite some time. The squad relies on the generosity of residents and donors who continue to provide emergency medical services with the best possible equipment to our residents and guests in Homedale. The squad is accepting applications for people who would like to become EMTs on our squad. You must be 18 or older, and ambulance drivers who must be 21 or older. That is all I have. Wendy, if you want to introduce your statement for public comment.
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is a public comment period for public comment on any governmental issue of public concern. In accordance with Resolution 2022-17, public commenters are asked to raise their hand and wait to be recognized by the mayor before coming forward and making public comments. Commenters are asked to state their full names and address before commenting. Public commenters are limited to one comment, not to exceed 3 minutes. Comments should be directed to the mayor and township committee. If appropriate, the mayor may direct and recognize a staff employee or professional to respond to comments either at this meeting or in writing after this meeting.
Thank you, Wendy. I see a hand up. Mr. Yanello.
Jay Yanello, 18 Ladwood Drive. Mayor Improveduto, you were, that came out slow. You're well regarded in the community for being relatively flexible in the Q&A, so I'm just curious, what was the catalyst for starting to lock it down now?
Well, look, I just think that, first of all, I'm fine, as you know, I'm fine with having conversations and doing these kinds of things. I do think we want to be respectful of other people's time, and I think that 3 minutes is plenty for someone to get the information out of their question, out of their comment that they need to. So I think it's just a matter of respecting everyone else's time in the room to make sure that not 1, 2, or 3 people dominate the discourse.
I think 3's a little tight. Maybe you'll be a little flexible. 3 to 5. Quick question. Roughly speaking, for the pilot money, let's say it comes in $7 million a year. Now, I know it may be less. What percentage of that is in the fixed budget or used by the fixed budget now at any year, roughly?
Well, it's completely rolled into the fund, Chris, right? So it's 100%
It's
gets rolled
100.
in.
So it's okay. So you're using up that full amount, right? For
We are.
operating, not just buying land and stuff. Wow, that got absorbed pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been, and it was in 2022. I'm going off memory a little bit.
Can you pause the timer?
Yeah. Sorry. Well, you want to get all your stuff out first?
No, please.
Yeah,
I like the, yeah.
Yeah, in 2022 it was at about $6 million. Since then it's plateaued to around 7.
Okay.
But that money, since the dollars started coming in, was folded into the operational budget of the town. So unwinding that is, it's part of the operational budget. So anything we do from that has impact. So, for example, one could argue, right, we're taking, well, not argue, we're taking $500,000 a year, and that goes to the school's for operating expenses for the SLEOs, right, for that. In order for us to, I think, responsibly find ways to help the schools, bonding through the open space fund for Addie's house, what Brian executed last year as mayor is another responsible way to do it, because if we start pulling the sheer dollars out, we have to make it up somewhere else, or we have to look for additional cuts, right? And that's just because it's part of the operating fund. Or, the money we have, the cash we have for case of emergency issues or whatever, gets depleted. If that gets depleted to a certain point, we lose our bond rating, which helps us bond at a low interest rate. So there's implication of these things. That's why, I respect Joe and Committeeman Romano. It's why I disagree with his perspective that we'll just figure it out. A $600,000 hit means we pull from somewhere else, right? It's not magic. So, again, it's just a respectful disagreement with myself and the committeeman on that one.
Okay, one more for you and quick for him. The woods of our town, or the backyards of people that have woods, look like a disaster area. And is there any FEMA money we can get as a town, or is there any plan to clean up the woods after this blizzard? Because as you drive around, it looks pretty bad. I would say we lost almost a third of our tall brush and trees from this blizzard. Have you driven around and seen it? It's bad.
Driven around, I've seen my trees take a hit.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah.
We look, of all the towns around here, it looks just about the worst. I'm not saying it's our fault, but we took it hard. Is there any plan to clean it up or encourage residents to clean it up? And is there any FEMA money we can get from it?
Yeah, I don't know, Chris. Is there any type of grant money or any type of federal state assistance we can get there?
It didn't happen. I mean, they did call for a state of emergency. I know that the governor put that out, but there was nothing that came forward yet. I don't think it will. What we could do is just encourage residents that when we have our brush pickup, as long as they meet the, size of what they're putting out there, and the quantity is not the issue, it's mostly the size, so our guys can handle it. We'll pick it up, and I think that maybe we'll put out something, hey, we encourage you to clean up your wooded areas, especially the ones that face other people's properties or the roadways, because I agree, I see it
You
every
go down
day coming
Middletown
in.
Road. I mean, do we have a plan, or will we have a plan to clean up those trees that are all down along Middletown Road?
If they're ours,
and it's going to cost money, obviously,
Yeah.
a lot of money.
if they're ours, we're going to evaluate them to get that taken care of. We can't go on private property or county, but we can encourage that. And as I said, we are encouraging the county to do their part on their parts, but we're taking we're going around taking notes on everything right now to see where we can go this summer, because there's a lot to do. I mean, we have a lot to do, and it was a rough year. It was really, really rough. I'm hoping that people take advantage of the brush pickup that's starting this next month, and we'll get it out that, hey, if you have, just cut it up into the proper, encourage them to put it out so we can get rid of it. So
Yeah, real quick, that tree, I'm glad they're ultimately going to take it down, because they may not feel it's safe if their kids were driving under that all day long.
We actually went out
Once
ourselves.
you put leaves on it and some wind, that tree's coming down at some
We
point.
had somebody on our side look at it to say, yes, for now it's safe, but it needs to come down, and they agreed. They just need to get to it.
And real quickly, those potholes, if it was going to be our responsibility, why didn't they coordinate with us? I mean, what?
It's
I mean, you guys are friends with the
I don't know if it's even a matter of friends. Remember, we haven't gotten to that level yet. This
Okay.
is the working level where I
we
am
need
at.
to coordinate
right?
this better. Those potholes have to be fixed on Homedale Road.
We agree, and we agree that they have to be fixed, especially in where they just made them higher. They made them basically dropped them lower by making the road higher.
Yeah, I meant manhole covers.
Yeah. So we will be discussing it with them tomorrow. If we don't get that, we'll go up above them.
Okay, and then last thing, the potholes like Ladwood Drive coming out of Village School, that's county potholes. They're still working on them, I hope?
Yeah, county's out working on them, but we have a few. We have Eli, or I call it Eli.
Yeah, Eli, over by Eli.
That's a big problem there. I don't know if you noticed that. That's a huge
I
problem.
did not. Believe it
I'm
or
trying, and that's right at the border there too, but I'm having the water company come out because it keeps happening. So something's either eroding under it or something, but we're going to have the engineers actually map that one out. We just can't have these roads keep doing what they're doing.
So wrapping up, Mayor, and we have to have a plan to clean up this town because it looks horrible. It looks like the Wizard of Oz to some degree.
Yeah, look, we're just
bad.
coming out of a harsh winter. It's been raining. It's been a lot of stuff. So the cleanup will happen. It's going to take a minute.
And I know it's going to cost money, but it's...
Well, listen, we have time. We have resources, and if there's additional money, this is part of the reason why we want to be careful with how we're spending.
I get it. Thank you.
Right. Anyone else? Young lady in the back, and then this gentleman to the right. That was you, sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Alessandra Mediago. I live at 7 Hillcrest Road. No one's called me a young lady in a while, so thank you for that, Mayor and Pravaduto. First, I would like to say thank you very much to Mr. Romano for your comments to try to help with courtesy busing. I'm going to talk to you today about courtesy busing. I came here last year when Mayor Foster was mayor and it said the same speech. And I would like to again plead with the Township Committee to help the Board of Education. It's been an emotional roller coaster ride for me over the past 24 hours because I woke up this morning to your post and then you just said you misspoke, so okay, down we go again. Then we had your motion or movement, whatever it is you call it, and now it's tabled and the clock is ticking for the BOE budget meeting tomorrow. I'm pleading with you to please consider any other means to help the BOE because clearly the BOE has not been able to maintain their budget for the courtesy busing and the language that they use, how it's a luxury. Yes, the auditors have brought this up, but that's the auditors' jobs. They are looking for cracks where they can find money for the BOE. The auditors are not part of our township. They're not our residents. It's not our children who are walking down the road. Again, I live at 7 Hillcrest Road. My daughters are 11 and 7. They will be going to Indian Hill and SATS next year. I live 1.6 miles away from SATS. My oldest daughter has a diagnosed neuroprocessing disorder, ADHD, and anxiety. And now she has to walk down a county road with no shoulders. There's no sidewalks. I travel 2 weeks out of the month for my job. My husband's a union electrician. He has to clock in at 5:30 in the morning. She's going to have to walk. Would you want that for your daughter? I want you to think about that. And I'm not the only one like this. And we're all here in Homedale. Right here at Crawford's Corner, how many accidents happen there? How about, I live on Hillcrest and Homedale, I've seen more accidents than I can count. And also Crepe Myrtle and Homedale Road. Accidents all the time as people shoot across Homedale Road to get across Crepe Myrtle. Those are the routes my daughters are taking. I'm just pleading with you, can you think of any other ways to help the BOE? This courtesy busing is also gonna harm our town. What is that gonna look like without busing anymore? How are we gonna get the infrastructure? Are we gonna be putting in speed bumps everywhere? What are we gonna do? The environmental impact, there's going to be a traffic analysis. There's gonna be other ancillary costs that are gonna be in place. Have we thought about what it means for our town to no longer have buses? This luxury that our kids have. Is it a luxury? It's part of our community. It keeps our home values up. It's part of the allure. It's their access to education. Please, I'm asking you, I respect you all so much. You take a lot of heat. Please, I'm asking, can you think of any other means? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. James Chicharello, 5 Brook Lane. My question is regarding the construction that's been going on Long Street and Roberts. Seems like they're pretty much wrapped up there, and I just wanted to know when they're going to be demobilizing. Also on Long Street, there's a lot of traffic cones that are all busted up from people running them over. There's chunks of them all over the place.
Chris, do you have a timeline on that?
That's,
when we're
that's
gonna be
the JCP&L stuff you're talking about, the power lines they've been doing.
Yeah.
They're still going. They have to be wrapped up no later than the first week of May. So they're finishing up what they're doing, then they have to come through and clean up, and then they have to start decommissioning the old poles. I know you see a couple areas where we still have a lot of old poles, the double poles that are there. They all have to be removed. So I will get some information on that and have it to you guys for the next meeting to let you know where they're at when they're about coming back for it and everything like that. But we just had a meeting with them the other day because they wanted to close roads that I didn't think were appropriate during school hours. So they were here and they told us that they're trying to wrap up by the first week of May because that's what their contract says. So I will reach out, and if you don't want to wait till the next meeting, give me a call on Thursday in the office, and I should have some answers for you.
It just looked like the corner of Long Street and Roberts. It looks like it's pretty much like an abandoned site at this point.
Yeah, they're moving, so they're just trying to move through as fast as they can and then come back and finish their cleanup. But we'll double check and see what's going on with that, and I'll make it so it's a safety concern and see if they can get out there faster.
Yep. All right, thanks, bud.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Cho at 4 Putnam Court. So I was doing a little more research on Pilot, and because I frankly didn't know much about it, and it's actually good, right? Like, it's good because you get more money from these developers than you normally would versus taxes. That's my understanding. I don't know if that's right. I also wasn't aware that the Vonage development is actually they're going to be paying Pilot.
And part of that to the
funds.
schools, yeah.
Okay.
They're paying Pilot, and we've committed a percentage of that to go to the schools.
Oh, okay. What's that percentage? I wasn't
I don't recall,
actually
Brian.
aware of
You
that.
were.
We did. The schools are currently receiving approximately $245,000, so we kept it the same as that with the escalators going up each year.
So it starts at 245 and increases.
And
Do we
what's
know what
the
percentage
total?
that is?
I don't
What's
know
the
off the top of my head.
total
The
amount?
escalators are built into the pilot agreement. I think it's 3 or 4%. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it's.
Okay.
Sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
Oh no, that's fine. So I guess I'm Asian, but I'm not that great at math. What's the total amount that you would actually be getting from the Vonage development? Like, what's the Pilot amount, I guess, per year that you'd be getting? Because I think Bellworks is like 7.5.
Yeah, it's nowhere near that. No, Bellworks is around 7, and that's
7.
a combination of the Regency, which is the 55 and over,
Right.
and the building itself. And then there's the 40 single-family homes from that development that pay standard tax rate.
Right.
Then we also have Bayshore, Hackensack Meridian pays a small part of our pilot as well. Of a pilot, we roll it into the pilot money. That's a small percentage of that as well. This will not be anywhere near that size, Chris. Are we like $2 million a year?
I'm thinking it's about $2 million. I don't have the exact numbers because it does. It does.
And it's got to
as
escalate.
well.
It doesn't
Right.
start that way.
Right.
Right,
So
okay.
it takes a while to get to that point. But remember, so I know it's confusing and it goes back and forth a lot, but the school still gets their taxes. So it doesn't matter if we don't get taxes from there, they're still getting the same amount of tax, it just gets filled out over the rest of the taxing, the people getting taxed. So by giving anything towards the school, it's on top of that, right? So the school will get their taxes plus the 250.
Right.
So if they're still going to pay, so they're still getting their 69% from the entire tax pool, right? It just means that facility is not paying it. It goes over the rest of the taxpayers in town. So when we keep ours down, the rest of the town, then we don't go up. Then you don't get the bump on us. You might get it in some other way, but not on from the town, as long as we can keep ours flat.
The schools always, regardless of what the school budget is, they always get their money, right? That's number one.
Yeah.
And so that's what Chris is effectively saying. And then what we commit from the pilot goes on top of that as an additional fund, I don't say fund, but additional revenues, if you will.
Right. So I guess if Vonage was taxed like the rest of the town, you couldn't.
It wouldn't change anything. It would still be you'd still sit the same amount of money.
240. Is that why you
No,
picked
you
that?
wouldn't get the 240. If it was taxed like the rest of the town, you'd get your 69% you get now.
So it's currently getting like 233. It would get that, and then the property would continue to depreciate, basically,
Okay.
because we actually got reassessed down right before the current company purchased it. And it got down to, I want to say about $500,000, and you figure 69% goes to the schools on that 500, right, probably thereabouts. And it was a similar dynamic with Bell Works. Without a pilot, there'd be no Bell Works, right? So that was down to about $500,000 or $600,000 in total tax revenues, with back then 66% going to the schools. And then again, these things continue to depreciate, they get assessed down, and then the revenues drop accordingly.
So I guess is it fair to say then the Vonage pilot money, you've already kind of set aside an amount to go to the Board of Ed versus the Bell Works?
Yes.
There's no like set agreement. It's just kind of like year by year you're assessing what the needs are and you're giving out.
We assess what we can do year by year with the Bell Works and the Hackensack Meridian and all that money, because it's been folded into the budget for a decade. So anything we do, anything we provide to any part of the town, we always have to figure out how we're going to budget for it, what the consumption choices are that go in accordance with it. With the pilot for Vonage, we already, when the money starts ticking up, as that increases occupancy, we're already planning to make sure we carve out to the schools and that goes there. So it's just a different way in which we've executed than we did last time.
And I guess that agreement though, is that with the Board of Ed? Is the percentage that you're, okay, so could it be possible to have then a secondary contract with the Board of Ed if we want to, for example, if the public is saying like we want more of a percentage, to have that discussion?
I think there's a number of ways things can be done. I think, look, frankly, and we've said this before, and I'm not talking out of school. If there are specific things the Board of Ed wants to fund, they can put it to referendum and have the township vote. It's not just where the pools of money come from.
What are the implications with respect to the state when you do that, like versus like if you're raising taxes, and I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time, but I really do want to understand like what's the best way, because in doing more research, I'm like, you know what, pilot was probably a good idea because it does generate more money than if you were to tax these. No, that's, can you
The town keeps a
explain?
larger portion of the money.
So for example, right, I was here and we did the Bell Works pilot. We gave the developer a discount because his startup for the building, because his startup costs were very high. It was a vacant building, one zone heating and air conditioning was falling apart. There was a flood in the basement, down where the theater was. So we needed to incent him to try to help him because the cost was astronomical to create what it is today. Okay, but it's less than we would normally receive if we went through a regular, conventional taxes, where roughly, right, follow this, 69% of the money would go to school, 15% go to the town, 15% go to the county, and then we also have a small percent that goes to Board of Health tax that you're taxed on, a library tax that you're taxed on, an open space tax. When you do the pilot, you don't pay those.
Okay.
So your So the number that comes to all those buckets gets eliminated, gets discounted down, and then it only goes to the town and 5% to the county. And they're exempt from paying everything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and how long is that agreement for? Per
30
person?
30 years.
That's a 30-year agreement. Now, the
30,
one thing that
okay.
has to be really strenuously, I think, understood is that, to Committeeman's point, without the pilot, there would have been no development.
Right.
And the largest unoccupied office space in the country would likely still be unoccupied.
Right.
Right. Now, similarly, in dealing with Vonage, we were facing two dynamics. We were dealing with a building that was deprecating in real time, right, on 88 acres and 350,000 square feet, while we were running headlong into an affordable housing mandate from Trenton.
Right.
Right. So when we looked at all the options there, right, we had to incent. We thought it was appropriate for the pilot to be part of that effort, in order for the owner to build something there that can be of benefit, or be something that can be a benefit to that property.
Right.
Right. So that's the way in which it's been thought about, and that's the way it's been calculated. Now, what I said 2 years ago is what Mayor Foster, when Brian was mayor, followed through on, which is, with this pilot, as we go through this, we will keep the schools whole or better. And that's what I said 2 years ago, and that's what we've done in this regard. So whole or better is what we're going towards. Now, again, if we don't have a development there are two options that would have happened. Either there'd be 700 apartments mandated by the state that go there,
Mhm.
right? Or the property would be vacant, and it would continue to deprecate in value and therefore hurt revenues.
Right,
So
I
this
heard-
held the line and
yeah.
then grew it, is the purpose.
I heard there was going to be like a bubble built and that was shot down. So I do think that was probably the least evil of all the choices. So, and I heard it's going to be like beautiful and it's going to be a prominent,
We're going to do
place-
an open house for everybody in
Yeah.
mid-April, so that you guys can walk it and see the designs and everything.
Yeah, so I guess a last point, there are four other towns in New Jersey, Princeton, Hoboken, Woodbridge, and Montclair, who also, have pilots, and they've successfully entered into a shared services agreement with their Board of Ed. So that would be great to see. And if I guess you're making the Board of Ed whole, does that mean you're paying for the $5.5 million deficit?
Sorry, when I said whole or better, whole to what they were getting, whole or better to what they were receiving. But I appreciate the effort
Okay,
on that one.
all right,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Hannah Thomas Knipp from 22 Winding Brook Way. First of all, thank you for in the past working with the schools to provide courtesy busing for last year. I live very close to Village School. I have children that are still in Village and will be there for the foreseeable future. I'm a parent, first of all, but I'm also a small business owner. I have several concerns about busing within the town. In that, first, when you're driving through Homedale at the start of school or the end of school, there's traffic safety concerns that are very apparent. Traffic has increased a lot on Newman Springs Road since I moved in 8 years ago. Also, as you drive past the high school and middle school, traffic also there can be quite bad at the school time hours. The times that schools start have changed since I was in, like earlier today when you talked about how courtesy busing was not always the case 12 years ago. It was not offered to parents. Well, times for school have also changed, so traffic patterns have changed. And I'm concerned at how students will continue to get to school, as well as parents that are working like myself will kind of navigate the time crunch that we incur. As a small business owner, being available during normal business hours is incredibly important to me, and it allows me to continue to serve the clients that I work with. And so I just would like to request, on behalf of other parents that are in the same position and town members, that you consider and move forward with extending courtesy busing back to parents for the future school years, because it is such an important safety concern for me, and as well as like a working parent concern.
Thank you. I see someone's hand up. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to read this to you, and I know that it's difficult to consume a red
Ma'am, can you just do your?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Roberta Kaufman. I live at 13 Chestnut Ridge Road, the Old Manor section of town. I served on the Homedale's Planning Board for 5 years and on the Environmental Commission for 16 years. As HEC Chair in 2001 through 3, I helped author and facilitate the passage of Homedale's wastewater management plan. So sewers are my thing. And I'm here because in the end of January, all of you expressed a desire to serve and help facilitate and pay for the wastewater management handling on the Vonage property through sewers rather than a state-of-the-art package plant with proper septic. I just want to say that in the state, the county plan, the county future sewer service plan, the state development and redevelopment plan, all this area is a discharge to groundwater. It means that sewer lines should not be in there. There should be conserved as a low-growth area. So let me read you a statement that I've been sent to read you. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of Citizens for Informed Land Use, a 28-year-old local nonprofit that advocates for thoughtful land use and preservation of our natural resources. Since our founding in 1998, CELU has consistently and vigorously argued for one core principle of land use policy, preserving the quality and quantity of drinking water by protecting the Swimming River Reservoir, specifically by upholding the value and effectiveness of septic systems and exercising extreme caution in considering any extension of sewer service. These principles are rooted in the protection of natural resources and the prevention of high-density development, goals that have long guided Homedale's planning framework and protected our community from overdevelopment. Just an aside, I want to remind you that if Mayor David Chai had not had the forethought to have a town-wide referendum, we would be looking at a southern Homedale that is full of golden age communities. I'm of golden age, I shouldn't object, but that is the situation. These principles, let me go back. The Swimming River Reservoir is another aside, and I imagine most of you are aware of it. Not only are we all drinking the water from the Swimming River Reservoir, but more than half the county is drinking the water. And more than that, we have 3,000 new units coming in the eastern part of the county, another 200 on the racetrack there. This is a severe drain on our watershed. And we would like to see you reconsider your decision to ask for a forced main and support and fund a forced main for the developer, and rather have us take care.
It's okay, no, keep going.
Thank you very much. And rather have us do what is appropriate for the watershed and put in a state-of-the-art package plant with septic fields that would serve the community and recharge the groundwater. These principles are rooted in the protection of natural resources and the prevention of high-density development, goals that have long guided Homedale's planning work. The proposed installation of sewer infrastructure at 23 Main Street, the former Vonage site, will have a profound and lasting impact on land use and environmental health. Unlike septic systems, which allow water to percolate back into the ground and recharge local aquifers, sewers permanently remove water from the watershed and transport it elsewhere, courtesy of Bayshore Sewer Authority, ultimately discharging it into the ocean. This loss directly affects the water availability for Homedale's reservoir and our drinking water supply. Equally concerning, history has repeatedly shown that high-density development follows sewer installation. Impervious cover, non-source pollution, and a corresponding decline in water quality. The CELU has long opposed the extension of sewer service into southern Homedale because it opens up previously protected areas to incremental and higher density development. Although the township has stated that this extension, which brings sewer service 1.5 miles further south, will be limited in scope and deed restricted and sized exclusively for the current project, CELU finds these assertions to be inconsistent with historical precedent. Homedale has already experienced a nearly identical scenario. Sewer infrastructure, originally approved solely for Bellworks building, was later extended to serve new surrounding townhouses. I should remind you, 220 units on the this was a 4-inch main, absolutely there, only because the clean rooms in Bell Labs could not be properly, according to Bell, accommodated by their on-site package plant. Therefore, the building was accommodated. I remember being in front of the county and arguing that it should not extend to all 475 acres, but it did. So we now have 220 or plus houses on there that are supported by sewer service. If indeed that had continued and we had not had the foresight, Mayor Chai had not had the foresight to have a referendum, we would have found 550 houses on the Chase Tract and 186 houses with Inverness down right opposite where Vonage is. Gentlemen, we have long opposed the extension. At the time, the public was assured that sewer service would never extend beyond Bell Works. We know that it got assurance. I mean, Bell Works was supposed to, Bell Labs, the building itself was supposed to originally been 10% coverage. Once sewer infrastructure is installed, the pressure to expand its use is foreseeable and inevitable. While the township now claims this project will not establish a precedent, our history, of course, says otherwise. And CELU acknowledges and appreciates, in response to a sustained public outcry, that you, the township, has finally taken steps to address the legitimate concerns about the drinking water contamination at the Vonage site from the antiquated on-site wastewater systems, including detergents and pathogens and other emerging contaminants. However, we believe there's a viable, less damaging alternative, and that is indeed to go the other option that you spoke of in January. I'm afraid I have to sit down to continue. Obviously, I've been talking too long, or I wouldn't have to sit down, but I apologize. See, and the far less damaging alternative, the use of modern package plant with an on-site leach field. Such a system would effectively remove contaminants from wastewater while preserving groundwater recharge, protecting the integrity of the watershed, and remaining fully consistent with Homedale's master plan and the township's. Last page, I promise.
Well, I have the 80 pages when we sat down a couple of years ago that you gave me, and I read that, so I know you can.
Yes, yes. When we tried strongly to defer the high density down at that location.
Yep.
Wastewater management. Okay, this approach addresses public health concerns without compromising one of Homedale's most environmentally sensitive areas. And of course, I'd like to refer to that young woman, Sarah, who said, as we first came in here, the earth is our common home. And that's a beautiful quote, and she did a lovely job. I guess she's an 8th grader or 6th grader, whatever. The cost of this project would be minimally funded. CELU is concerned about the proposed financing structure of this proposal. The cost of this project would only be minimally funded by CHA, the developer, with over $1 million drawn from the township's co-reserve trust fund and over $4 million financed through a township bond to be repaid over 30 years via a special assessment. This proposal commits future residents to decades of repayment and shifts the financial burden onto taxpayers rather than placing it on the developer, whose project necessitates the infrastructure. Instead, the township should place far greater responsibility for funding this project on CHA. Public debt should not be a default solution for private development. Homedale's wastewater management plan and master plan were not written casually. They reflect decades of deliberate and informed decision-making, rooted in science and the understanding that land is Homedale's one truly irreplaceable asset. These documents were designed to safeguard environmental integrity and to prevent choices that could cause permanent harm. Incremental exceptions erode their authority and invite consequences that cannot be undone. CELU will continue to stand firmly against the dual threats of environmental degradation and overdevelopment and we urge the township to reconsider this course of action and pursue a less invasive and a more responsible wastewater solution. Demand greater accountability from the developer and recommit to the planning principles that have protected Homedale's land and water for decades. I thank you very much. And do want to remind all of you that we were forced, the town was forced, to declare everything north of the railroad tracks as Planning Area 1 in the State Development and Redevelopment Plan. We lost the suit that Hazlitt brought against us, and then we now have 100 units up there, which is great, of affordable housing. But this area, Planning Area 1, with sewer service, with available high density, basically density permissible as large as Newark, is the area where we should be looking to, and I'm glad that you have increased the next 100 or 80 units of affordable housing there. And I would like you to take a look and see whether we couldn't shift the burden where we have the infrastructure, where the sewer service, where the transportation, where the food supply is, where the grocery stores are, to that area. Last comment, I appreciate that 80 unit, 100% affordable project. Hopefully it will come through. We have another affordable housing project adjacent in Hazlitt, and you have the Kohl's strip mall there that intermittently is not fully occupied. I would suggest to you that money well spent, if we could get an arrangement with Hazlitt, would be to hire an urban designer to look at all three projects, the existing one and the two that are being developed, because we could create a very effective, perhaps 3-4 story apartment units with stores below that could really become a mini village and a real asset to the town.
Thank you very much. And folks, I just very quickly, yeah, by all means. So just very quickly, we did have our hard and fast rule, but Ms. Kaufman's been around for a long time, and she's certainly been a member of the community and someone who's had a great deal of concern and care for our community. So we afforded her the opportunity to speak, and I do appreciate, again, the time we spent together. I do want to make one clarifying point, which is that the sewer line going in, as we talked about as many times over, is not only going to be deed restricted, but only large enough for the Vonage property. We've talked with our lawyers, our engineers, and everybody else that this will not set a precedent for high density development downtown, and also it's not coming out of the taxpayers' pockets either. So I just want to make sure we have that we clarify that point. But Ms. Kaufman, as always, I appreciate your commitment and your thoughts. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Jessica Kwan. I live at 43 Stony Brook Road. I moved here about 15 months ago, and the draw of the Homedale schools and the busing safely to take my children to those schools was one of the things that really brought us to this area, and we love it. We love the community. We love the town. I implore you to find a way to continue to safely fund busing for our schools so our kids could get there safely. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Kristen Solero, 5 Hot Brook Lane. I recently announced that I'm a candidate for the Homedale Township Committee, but I'm here tonight as a private citizen. Tonight I want to point out a theme that I see, and that is that the township is failing to come up with solid plans for the future, which creates problems, and then we're putting it on the taxpayers to pay and solve, all the while not taking our concerns seriously. Bond after bond, the TC is looking to the taxpayers to pay the bills they incur to solve the problems they create. We came here to so many meetings to ask for what's fair, for funding that should go to our schools and our children, to ask the TC to do what's right after they stepped in and intercepted funds that should go to our schools with a wave of their wand and a magical pilot program. Pilot programs are meant for blighted areas. I don't see any blight in Homedale. Has anyone realized it's offensive to even suggest such a thing? Building here is about as risk-free as it gets. But the TC doesn't want to give up their pilot money. They love it. They love the talking points they squeeze out of it year after year. So when a TC member does a video or speech telling you there is no increase in the tax rate, the Homedale taxpayers need to know what that means. I ask the residents, given inflation, haven't your costs go up, some exponentially? So how is the TC doing it? They must somehow have more and more money. The TC said the pilot money is ours no matter how we got it. Let the schools go to referendum, they said. Put it on the taxpayers. That's what that means. Now, the $1 million house on Crawford's Corner, their latest Band-Aid for our schools, the taxpayers are paying for that. So without you agreeing to it, they did put it on the taxpayers. Bond after bond. They created a mess with Vonage, a public health disaster of contaminated drinking water and effluent sprayed into the air to fall on our roads, parks, lawns, pools, and carried for miles. Did they ask the tough questions to safeguard public health? The professionals they hired and we counted on failed us, but served the TC. They hoped no one would notice, and just like that, they would get even more pilot money. The magical force main that is the answer to solving the water contamination problem they created at Vonage, the taxpayers are paying for that, bond after bond. So beware, taxpayers. I don't think these are the perks you expected from living here. But just like the magical pilot programs, the money comes from somewhere, and those bonds are issued on your backs. We wanted great schools and strong property values. We're getting bond after bond and smoke and mirrors to temporarily band-aid over problems. It shouldn't matter that some people up there didn't make or orchestrate the pilots. Every day you wake up, it's an opportunity to look at the facts and do the right thing. If our tax formula says 69% of our taxes should go to our schools, that is the right thing. Just because the TC got the money first doesn't mean they earned it or deserve it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Damari.
Chris Damari, Seven Oaks. In my opinion, the pilot money is not responsible for the school's deficits, and since the pilot originated, the schools have gotten more money than they've gotten before. It was mentioned that Montclair, I guess, recently awarded some pilot money to the schools. Well, they just had a referendum in Montclair, and it just barely passed to give the BOE $12.5 million one time to get them through this 1 year to get through their deficit. The second referendum did not pass. It would be a residual tax increase. So that community decided we're no longer going to be giving the schools money long term. So they just barely bailed them out to get through 1 year. We could end up having a similar problem here if they continue to push with the pilot. But I do want to make a suggestion to the Township Committee. The Board of Ed is only able to send information out to the schools community. All right, the schools community, I estimate, is probably 25% of Homedale. So there's another 75% of Homedale, 70% of Homedale don't have children in their households who are getting not much information at all about the schools. What's important for the schools and for us to all recognize is we need that broader community support to preserve Homedale schools. We're going to need them. We're going to need those people. And what I recognized when I communicated with a lot of those people is when you take the time to explain to them why the taxes are going up, where the money's going, they actually become a lot more understanding to wanting to support the schools. But the problem is they don't have any information. So my suggestion is if the Township Committee could work with the Board of Ed to start getting more information out to the broader community, especially when the budget rolls around, all those presentations, they are funding, everybody in Homedale is funding these schools. So they should deserve to see that information. So I think it's time for us to get that information out. And as I said, the BOE, they don't have that capability. So I know the schools are going to be looking to put out a really big referendum soon. And I'm telling you, it is going to be important to make sure that all these people that are complaining about the tax money going to schools get behind these referendums, or else our schools are going to be in a lot of trouble, a lot more trouble than they are now. In my opinion, the deficits are not going to go away. They are going to continue. I've seen it happen in a lot of these other school districts. These costs are not stopping. Health benefits is probably the biggest key driver, 35% this year. What happens if they go up another 35% next year? What are we going to do? Lay off another 27 teachers? My whole plan was to try to negotiate a fair labor agreement where we keep and retain all our staff And now, over the last 20 years, we've lost 22% of our student population. I mentioned that last meeting. We can't ignore this, and something we need to continue to consider. So we do need that broader community support to keep getting money to these schools. I'm going to switch gears a little bit now that I'm here tonight. I cannot be the only
I'm holding you to
member-
3 minutes, though.
Please, I'm going to need a little bit more. Wendy, come on, help me out. I cannot be the only person in Homedale who has noticed over the years these 8 trees on Crawford's Corner right by going up to South Holland that have been dead. Okay, I can't stand looking at them when I see them. If you guys give me the authority, I'll head over there with my chainsaw and my son. We'll get them down in one afternoon. But seriously, one fell, and that hit the sidewalk and the street. And that sidewalk is a very active sidewalk for runners, bikers, bikes, everything. So I really please look into getting those trees down. It might be the responsibility of the households, but I really, anything we can do to do that. Also, I don't need an answer tonight, but if we can continue to keep Cappard Alley, that water stream that just keeps eroding that creek, please keep it on your radar. The street is a complete mess. We continue to be told that we want to fix this first problem before we redo the street, but year after year it's not happening. So that's something else I wanted to mention. Another mention is I started a Homedale mountain biking club last year. I first want to give a shout out to any person listening who's responsible for maintaining those Rasmussen trails. I can't even think right now. Rasmussen trails. Wonderful trails for our community. We had an incredible turnout. I'd say anywhere from 4th grade through high school. You can find the information on Homedale Recreation. It'll come out. So please, if any of your children want to get involved, we had a great turnout. And my last comment is I know that there's the Homedale History Scavenger, and I really hope that we're going to include a key history lesson when Homedale voters went out and preserved the township form of local government in 2022, because that was a key moment in Homedale's history. That township government, the one that we're looking at tonight, has been operating well in this town for now 170 years. Homedale, one of the most desirable places to move to and live in all of New Jersey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Chris, let's take a look at those trees on Crawford's. Yeah. Appreciate that. Any other? Let me just see if anybody else wants to speak, and then Sarah, we'll close with you. Mr. Weisfeld.
Hey guys, Matt Weisfeld, 10 Riverside Lane. All right, I swear, this was the actual reason I came. It had nothing to do with pilots, nothing to do with anything. It's about Coles. Because as a business owner, and actually you brought up a really good point, because it's a night. You can't hear him? Anyway, I've said before I'm very shy. And guys, I gotta be honest, when I get frustrated with myself. Because again, I know that deep down you guys all want to do the right thing. We just happen to have different opinions. Nonetheless, the thing that gets me, the thing that's had me like reeling a little bit today, and again, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I didn't realize you have a Saturday thing, so maybe we can discuss this.
Sure.
Coles.
You gonna bring bagels again?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Well, not Coles, the Coles lot. And again, guys, I really miss a lot more than you all realize. I'm just trying to get caught up on this because I believe there was a zoning thing, a change from the last meeting. And if I'm understanding this right, this is where it was changing the mixed zoning of resident and commercial and making it only resident. And this is the area I'm talking about. That's the affordable housing, all the other fun stuff.
Yeah, we reduced the number of homes that were designated for that area from 170 to 80.
But did it change the zoning of the residential, commercial, the mixed zoning part?
It's not going to. There's going to be no commercial.
You just killed the value then.
The value doesn't matter. It's going to be an affordable project.
But it's like the guy that owns the property, is he going to sue us? Because I know that if I went, and again, I don't know if these numbers are right. Guys, seriously, I'm just like trying to understand this. I'm a business owner who has wanted to move his businesses into Homedale. Actually, since Mayor Hines married my wife and me, he gave me the idea. That's where I started up at the Horn Antenna. That's a story for another time. Anyway, the point is, this scares me because if I was a property owner and I bought this whole big thing, I believe the guy played ball with you. I don't know. None of my business as far as doing buildings and things like that. But if I went from having a property that had commercial and I suddenly lost it in a meeting that I don't know if you knew about or not, but I just know that I would have been at this meeting if it was my property. Because then that means my property just went from $18 to $23 million ballpark ChatGPT, but nonetheless, we all seem to do it, so whatever. Down to roughly 3 to 5 million. Are we doing eminent domain? And then I saw a whole bunch of stuff on Facebook, which got me even more excited, and that's why I was just like, wow.
Yeah, look,
that's why I just want the clarification.
Yeah, Matt, here's the clarification. I'd say it's twofold. I think one, as I mentioned, this property was designated for affordable for quite some time with 170 units plus commercial. That obligation was not fulfilled. Okay, so as we stood
By the developer?
By the developer. Okay, and Mike, I don't want to get us in trouble,
think
but
that's factual. I think that's the extent to which we can speak to it, and I've mentioned at past township committee meetings that there is threatened litigation involving it, which is not entirely unusual when dealing with affordable sites, but that is the factual reality. The property was zoned to comply with the third round. The developer did not act upon that zoning.
So it wasn't acted upon. We had decisions to make, and we reduced the obligation, negotiated a reduction in the obligation from the state, and found what we believe is a responsible plan for this. Now, this isn't anything anybody wants to do. As you know, Matt, we've talked about it.
Absolutely.
Right? But it's our job to figure out a way to make this work. If we, as we sued and we lost, right, or they wouldn't hear it.
True.
And so that's the path we took. Now, if you want to talk about, listen, and just speaking, I don't want to say in the abstract, but just about eminent domain, what we do with that property, how it goes down, we'll see, right? To Mike mentioned this.
Oh, no, as a business owner, I need to know this, because if this happens here, I will never move my business here. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Goofball Matt stopping for a second and saying, I will not be able to trust this town.
Yeah.
And if I can't trust this town, I don't need to be in this town. And I'm getting a little excited, and you agreed with me on this one. When I heard, and Pat, I do agree with you, there's a lot of options. But if I'm deciding right now I'm going to private school, and I can't ever bring, like my kids, all that fun stuff, and I know I can never bring my business here, I could just move now. Because that scares me. The fear of, will this guy be up for eminent domain? And I mean, do you guys?
I would say, listen, I can't speak to that, to the specifics on that. To Mike's point, all I can tell you is factually where it stands. What I can tell you about eminent domain is, and the use of it. Without it, we'd have 100 townhomes on the Horn Antenna, and we'd have a dementia center at Potter's Farm.
But there's no way that you could. Okay, I get the fact he didn't meet the obligation, but could it have been done without destroying the value of his property, making it easier?
I don't
to
know
do?
that we've destroyed the value of his property or not. I realize
Absolutely. No. From a business standpoint, that's BS. You just ruined this guy. If he didn't play ball, I understand. That's my time. I understand. And I'll come Saturday. I swear to God.
Yeah, come Saturday. We'll
I'll
talk
be
about it.
set. I want to know. I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
That's a tough act to follow. I'm Chandana Rao. I live on 57 Oaks Drive. I live off of Crawford's, and I get to go to Bellworks with my dog and my son, but I take my life in my hands whenever I try to cross the road because people think Crawford's NASCAR. With that being said, I also am concerned about the fact that our special busing will be removed because of budget cuts, and I do understand and welcome your plans to buy the Addie Holmes house and to give that particular profits to the BOE to do what they will with it. I appreciate that, but I have to say Mr. Romano's idea is also worth exploring, because the idea of the busing is not just a school issue, right? It's a municipality issue. You take that out, which is not statutory, right? It's not a statutory obligation. I'm within the 2-mile zone, so I'm here for that reason. We have to walk, right? And not only do I have to take my life in my hands when I cross the street, there are no crosswalks. There aren't reliable contiguous streets that go to the schools, right? So there aren't stoplights. We have young families moving in who I see them cross the street with their strollers and I pray for them, right? And so that's part of the reason why I think Mr. Romano's idea has merit, right? I understand your point of view, but I think from a larger context, most people like us move to Homedale for the schools, right? Bellworks is awesome, but it's really the schools that we come here for. And so to help the Board of Education meet their budget issues is, I think, not just a like a school budget issue and your issue, like your particular town council budget issue. It's really a taxpayer issue, right? Because at the end of the day, our property values are inextricably tied with school rankings, right? If Homedale schools go down, there goes my property values, right? And to the folks who are retired and who have no kids in the school system, I get it, right? But let's think of it this way. If people, if they want to sell their home, the people who are buying their homes are young families because of the school system, right? So if the town council considers supporting the schools from a longer, more sort of planned point of view, like shared service agreements, plan it as part of your budget, right? And work with the BOE to develop a longer relationship. We don't have to worry. You guys don't have to stress about Band-Aids or, oh my God, the BOE needs help. Let's fix this now, etc., right? This can be a longer term planned event that ultimately will benefit taxpayers, right? It's a property value issue, not a school issue or like your budget issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Sarah. Sarah, and then Mr. Trisquita, and then I think we'll wrap it up.
So I had some, oh, sorry, Sarah Cho, 4 Putnam Court. I had some people reach out to me and ask about like line items on the budget, so I'd like to raise that. And I don't know if this is, I would actually love like kind of an explanation of these line items, and then maybe some round tabling to see if there's alternatives to make the budget leaner.
Well, I'll tell you, and by the way, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to tell you what the process is. The process will come about that we're going to introduce the budget for the public to see. We'll talk through things within the budget itself. It'll be fully transparent and fully visible for people to review and then ask questions on before we vote to adopt the budget. And that'll take like a month before we even get to that point to adopt. So we will have a process in place where it can be reviewed, questions can be asked. You could ask even ad hoc to any one of us via email prior to meetings or things of that nature. So it's not something we just like throw up and approve. It's introduced, reviewed again by the committee as well as the public, and then there's discourse around it.
So is today like the introduction and then, or when?
No, we don't.
What's the timeline?
The timeline is typically, what is the first meeting in April, Chris?
The first meeting that happens after the May 31st date. So March 31st date. So anything, the first April meeting after March 31st.
That's
so
when it gets
first
introduced.
Or second, depending on what we have or what we're going to do today.
Right. That's when the actual budget document is introduced to the public.
I see.
And then there's within like 30 after like 30 days.
It has to sit on the days for 28 days. Yeah. So it sits on the streets for 28 days, and you can review it, and then at that point there's a hearing.
And so and I apologize for interrupting, but I wanted you to understand that like there is we ensure a very transparent process with this,
right?
To make sure that people can weigh in and ask questions.
No, I love that input. May I just raise 3 questions?
You still have time.
Thanks. Do we use WebEx? Because when I looked at the budget, it said that there was WebEx, VMware, and Adobe conferencing systems for like 60,000. Is that
It's our
accurate?
phone system. We use WebEx for our phone system through the entire building.
Do you use your cell phones though, or do you use landlines?
We have to use landlines. We have to have landlines.
Oh, you have
We're
to have
government.
landlines
So yeah,
because
so WebEx is our phone system here.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's 60,000 a year.
It would be a lot more if we were in the old days and it wasn't VoIP. It would be a lot more than that.
Really?
So, yep.
So that's like a normal
That's
cost.
for a town this size, yes.
Wow. Yeah, I just don't know, which is why I'm like, that seems like, especially WebEx, it seems so outdated, I don't know. I didn't
It's
vet
more
the
modern.
vendors.
It's pretty modern. It's just newer. That's just technology we're using. I can get my phone calls to my phone, but I still use the desk phone. So.
Right.
Chris, you mean it's Cisco? You mean Cisco?
No, we're using I don't know if it's WebEx is the company we use now. I don't think we use Cisco anymore, do we? Wendy, I think that's old, right?
I don't know. I know like my voicemail is WebEx.
Yeah, it's WebEx, voicemail and everything. Even the voice over IP is through WebEx. So everything I get is through WebEx. So I'm not sure for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know. And maybe if there's cheaper options, that could be something. There was a for the daddy-daughter dance, which my husband has gone to with my older one, and will go to with my younger one, hopefully. There was like a $17,000 bill for that. Is that accurate, or is that something that's like?
I don't think it shows the revenue we received for it, though.
Yeah, there's always revenue that comes in with that.
Okay,
Those, we,
okay.
when you get a bill, we
I
pay
see,
that.
you
but-
pay it,
but we
but
still have to
you're-
pay it out of our bills.
But you're, okay, got it. So, because I was like, I think we paid for that, like the ticket itself. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And this is kind of near and dear to my heart, because my dad owned natural cleaners in Middletown growing up, and we would have cops come to our, dry cleaners, and it was one of those things where he just met everybody, the whole police station. But I noticed like there's a pretty high dry cleaning bill, which obviously I want Homedale cleaners to get. But is there an alternative to maybe do that?
We actually go out to contract on that. The only one that gave us any quote on it was Homedale
Was
Cleaners.
Homedale? Okay. You might want to try natural cleaners.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Trisquita, you want to close the show here? Oh, one more after? Okay. All right.
Patrick Trisquita, 56 Line Road. I want to comment on the use of eminent domain. Homedale has used eminent domain for outstanding purposes. First of all, eminent domain is in the United States Constitution, that the public can acquire land if it's for public use. And Homedale's first use of that, I believe, was up at Crawford Hill, which was an obvious.
Actually, it's how we got the swim club 50 years ago,
Okay.
60 years ago, whatever it was.
I want to talk about the comment about the using eminent domain over on Route. Using eminent domain over on Route 35 to meet our affordable housing requirement. Court after court has affirmed that you can use the municipalities can use eminent domain to build their affordable housing mandates. And so this is pretty clear. This particular owner had a mandate to build 170 units to meet our third round obligation and blew us off. The fourth round requirement, we have 80 units. It's all affordable now. So it's a lot riding on it for Homedale. Use of eminent domain to get the property and to make it into the project that we have that will meet the state requirements is a great use of eminent domain. And it would meet our requirements, and it would move the plan forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw a hand up. Peter, is that you? Look like you're hobbling these days, man. You all right?
It's it's just the injury. I can't hold this. Okay. I should. Patrick, I think eminent domain is a bad idea.
Sir, can you your
Sorry,
name,
yes,
please?
Peter Franco, 5 Hopbrook Lane.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. What was that? Yes. Okay. Back at the last meeting, we spoke about these key cards that were installed. Was there a final tally on how much that cost us?
I believe it was $164,000, but it wasn't just the key cards. It was the camera system the PD uses the dispatch center uses. It also go to the county once we go to the county. So the original cost of it before I got here, they were looking at a $400,000 system. We were able to get it down to the $164,000 system, and it was approved by the committee.
The Bellworks, or actually the Vonage building, do you guys have an estimated value of the improved project after, say, all 4 phases are finished?
Oh, Eric might. I don't have one off the top of my head, Chris.
Because I know you guys mentioned
It would have to be 30 years from now. So whenever it should be in his report.
Yeah, because I think phase
195, Patrick. Is that what it said?
According to what they were saying was, I think the building with the 106 beds was going to be 87 million, and then there were 65 cottages. I think they were saying they could go north of $1 million, if I'm correct. And then you have the value of the 2 buildings that they're adding to it. I'm just, going back to this whole tax situation. If you took a $200 million, when you factor in the 2-3-story units, buildings, the nursing facility and the extended care, with a regular tax base, the amount of money that the schools could bring in from that, and and the town, not as much, but at the tax rate and then the 68% based off of 200, I mean, that puts like $2.5 million into the school system.
But it also assumes that someone would take that property on at the regular tax rate.
But it's Homedale. I mean, we're forgetting where we are.
I'm not forgetting it in the least.
Okay, and then the other thing is back to the Vonage. And it's pretty funny that the feasibility of the builder, Mr. Colgan at CHA, with the money problems that he had run into, whether he still has them or not, accounts receivable actually reached out to me from a company that they just beat for over $80,000. I know you guys don't want to hear this, but it's just when we're fronting and we're helping these people and inviting them into our communities, and they're building our backyards, and they're beating everybody along the way. I feel like we can do better with this and hold them accountable and just raise our standards better. Like like a developer, like who knows what's going to go on with the Coles property, and what developers that you guys already have lined up or whatever. It's just, is this indicative of where that's going to go? And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. I think we're good. Motion